Hey guys, good evening, everybody. Hope you all can hear me. Good evening, Beatrice. Good evening, Nancy. Good evening, Doro. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's live. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My co-hosts are already here, so I'll just add them to the stream. So welcome guys. Today we're talking about the best places to live in the UK, whether to live in London or outside London, right? So my co-hosts, one of them lives in London. I don't stay in London, and then the second person doesn't stay in London, but well, we're going to discuss everything. So guys, it's going to be very interesting, and feel free to call in. Okay, it's going to be very interactive as well. Want to hear your opinion and all of that. Right. So, guys.
Hi,
Hi, Kelvin. Welcome.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear you. What's the problem? What's
You
the
can't
problem?
hear
Let me
me.
see. I'm trying to see because it's my first time here, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm just seeing your mouth, and I know you said I can hear you.
Guys, can you
Okay.
guys hear
I
me?
don't know what to do. Should I leave and come back in? Should I try
Eh,
that?
can you guys hear me? Let me just be sure it's not from my
Oh, I
side.
can't hear you. Okay, let me see in the chat section.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
what can I do? Leave and join back.
I'm here. Hello.
welcome, Faith.
Hello. Hello, guys. Welcome to Touch's Life.
Welcome to today's live.
Thank you so much for having me. By the way, I'm snacking, guys. Come and join me. I could hear Kelvin, though. I was hearing him. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. You said you couldn't hear me. I don't know what the issue was. But yeah, we'll just start because it's already time and he will join us whenever he can. So welcome today, Tosin Namdi Oriera Adeola Nobility Kelebo. Oh, sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Perpetua Regodile. Ha. Choma, you guys, welcome everybody. So we're just going to start. We're going to be talking about the best places to live in the UK. And I have a very good friend of mine here. She lives in London and she's an advocate of London. Like there's nothing you can tell her that will make her move out of London. And I, on the other hand, I don't live in London and I don't advise people to move to London. Like there's nothing you can tell me now that would make me move to London, right? So we're going to be talking about everything, dissecting it. And this conversation is going to be very healthy and friendly. Please, no insults. This is going to be on our opinion. Feel free to call in and leave your own opinion as well. And this video also is going to be very educating to let people know, because people are kind of confused as to where to live in the UK and all that. So that's the essence of this video, just to tell you the advantages and disadvantages of living where we are living, and then suggest to you places that you can move to as well. That is cheap, affordable, that is safe for your kids, and that is just okay for you to live in the UK. So we're just going to start. And yeah, so Faith, welcome.
Thank
Can you
you.
introduce yourself to us? And
Ella, please. Faith is
yeah,
loud.
then tell us
Get used to it.
Advantages of living in London.
Okay, guys, I'm Faith Ojone. You know, your queen. Anyway, that's one of let's be serious now. Okay, for me, yeah, living in London for me, it's based on person. Okay, so for me, I'll say I love city life. I love the whole busy area. I love the fact that I can just be like, okay, I want to eat something. I can just go out of my house and buy it. It's just the convenience for me. But generally, living in London is quite expensive. I'm not going to lie. It is very expensive, but it's just convenient and comfortable. Like, I can just walk out, go if I want to go home or go to the train station, go to work. It's easy for me. I don't need to have a car. Well, you can't even have it. Like, if you have a car in London, I don't know, you're just stressing yourself because you're going to be paying a lot of money. So for me, basically, what I would say is that rent is expensive in London. That's the only thing expensive in London to me. I don't know about any other person. That's the only expensive things in London. Most people say, oh, London is expensive. But no, it's only rent that is expensive.
Okay, so Faith, you said it's only rent. You're saying it's only rent that's expensive. As if rent is like your major living house, like your major expense in the UK, and you're saying it's just rent.
It's
Come
just
on,
rent.
if you're working for every month, you're paying basically all you earn, like almost all you earn on rent living in London. And I don't see
No.
why you should come from a country where you were, okay, I don't know, not everybody was struggling in their home country anyway, but I don't see why you would move from a country, of course, to the UK to get a better life. And then you now come and be struggling, working, and now be paying all your money on rent. I still
For my
don't get that
mental health,
concept.
I'll stay in London. London is culturally diverse. Look, I stayed in countryside because of this advice. Oh, move out of London, go somewhere cheap. It's better. You save more money. But I will tell you that when I moved out of London to Surrey is not London, by the way. It's outside London. It was mentally draining. I had issues with my neighbors. It's sort of so racist, and I've heard a lot of people who talked about living outside the outside London, who live maybe outside, maybe like in the bush. You people that live in the bush, I don't know, I think of so many things. The fact that I am not a British person, I am black skin. I would rather stay where I'll find my kind of people, and where my child will go to school and she's not feeling like she's the only black person among white people. I mean, you have to stay in your community, especially when you're not living in your home country. If you're living in your home country to another country, it makes sense to stay in a community where you guys are a lot. That's why you see that there's a particular side in the UK that is mostly dominated by Asian people, and there is a particular side that is mostly dominated by black. So why is that? Because you need to stay connected to your people, to your roots. I mean, racism is not sweet though. I have experienced this, and I can never live in the bush.
Now, there's a mistake. I think you're mixing up something here. Living outside London doesn't mean you're living in the bush, right? We have other cities. We have the north of England, so many beautiful cities. Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool. In fact, there are so many. So living outside London doesn't mean you live in the bush and you're the only black person in that community, right? I think you're confusing it with where you were living. I think maybe the Surrey you were living was like I don't know,
Mini countryside. But if you're not
countryside.
living in the
Exactly. So
township,
that's
you're not living
we're
in
not talking about we're talking about London and other cities, other good cities now,
oh,
right?
okay.
Not
I get that.
countryside.
Yeah,
Right,
well,
countryside is like your choice. Maybe you live in Manchester, and instead of living in the city center, you decide to move to a countryside. Is different, right? We're just comparing London and other cities or other places in the UK, not necessarily
countryside.
countryside. You get?
Okay, for
So
me,
now in other places, you will get blacks, you will get a
me.
community. In my city, I have a community of blacks, right? We host summer events, we hang out from time to time. So it's not like we might not be as much as London or Manchester, but we're still good. And then for the rent, Faith, you live in a two-bed house in London, right?
Yeah,
And you're paying, how much are you paying?
1-3.
£1,300.
Yeah.
And an average salary in London is maybe 2,000 with the London whatever.
Yeah,
London
London
rate.
gets more rates in terms of salary. So what you'll be earning, the same position in London is usually higher because they want to compensate with the cost of living in London. So, and you're close to Heathrow Airport, you can just travel to your country and come back.
Exactly. Wait, calm down. Stop running. Stop being faster than your shadow. So you're earning average, let's say average of £2,000. Okay, let's say 2,500 because of London. Not everybody earns 2,500. Let's be sincere.
No,
There are
not
healthcare assistants. There are people that work in factories. Not everybody's a professional that would be earning like 2,500. Remember. So you're paying 1,300 on rent and you're earning £2,000. So you have only £700 left for you after paying rent.
well, you need to
And from
consider
that
the fact
£700, you will
you're not
eat,
going to
you will
get
clothes, you will feed, you will
I would,
come
I
on
would just
now.
be, I would
And
just be
then,
laughing first of all.
wait, Kevin, I'm coming. And then you're living in a face me, I slap you, shared apartments. You live in face me, I slap you in back home. You come to the UK, I'm living in face me, I slap you. Come on now.
it's not
But
why
we
you
down
sound like
here,
that. It's
that
not
two
food, it's
bedroom, in
good
fact,
things.
we down here with 650, 700, you're getting a good house, 3-bedroom apartment rent.
How
You
close
can
is the train
see in
station?
London, you cannot even spread your arms like this.
How close is your house to the train station and maybe to the mall or some where you want to buy food?
How
Just
many
talk.
times are you going to the train station?
And you don't
Please
go
let me
out.
ask
I
her.
mean, you don't dey walk. You don't go come out from your house.
How many times are you using the train?
Uh-uh. If you don't have a car, you have to use the train. How close is train station to your house?
Let me let
Anyway,
I,
let me
I,
say, Kevin, what do you think? Living in London and outside London? Because yeah, we know there are more opportunities in London. The London rate, you get to meet more people. There are so
More
many things
jobs,
that you are
honestly,
exposed to
more
in
jobs.
London, right? That you might not be exposed to in other cities. But then, what do you think with the cost of living, housing, accommodation, everything? What do you think about London and outside London?
thanks Tochi for this YouTube live and everything. And the thing is, I believe I'm not a fan of living in major cities right from time. I don't like. Let's move it back to Nigeria. I don't like Lagos. Everybody's rushing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Everybody's rushing. The same thing is London. I feel like London is a place where I want to just go and just flex more. I'll just go there for like 2 days, 3 days and come back. It's not where I'll just be inside. Is for me, I don't know. They will not tell you, oh, there's a house, it has garden. You see the garden is like foot mats. It's green, just like when you buy green foot mats and keep it beside you. They say it's a garden. They say, oh, it's a studio apartment. You see the kitchen is beside your bed. When you're frying plantain, oil is splashing on your bed. And then you're spending like 1,000 something on that small apartment. And then someone is living in Birmingham, in Manchester City, in Leicester, in Nottingham, in Sheffield. These are very big cities, and you can have. Well, I remember when I was looking for a house. I moved down to the Midlands. I was looking for a house. I was seeing houses of 580. House. I mean house, big house.
Yeah, you
Only
need to
you be
explain
inside
that
with
to those that
two
live in London. They don't know what a house is. They are
with
used
with
to
they don't know what the
apartments
house, they
and
know
face my
apartment. You
slap
you
you.
see when she was mentioning apartment, you see the house, it has car park, maybe two, and then it has garden at the back. If you have a child, I cannot bring up my child in London
Why
because
not?
we don't even have a playground for them. No, this is not yes,
Not
wait
true.
now.
We have
Wait,
lots of
let me.
parks.
For you to
Very close
have
to
a
your
house
house.
that has a garden, you will do like this with your salary. In fact, you will hear me. Let me use that word. You hear me. Do you know why? Because London is a very big city. Is the head is in fact is an economic capital. There's a lot of headquarters, offices, everything is there. In fact, you mentioned opportunity, but I would like to ask you, out of all the millions of opportunities in London, how many are you taking? It's one now. Be na one work now you dey work. You're not working
Yeah,
in
but
odd.
in a good organization, like in a good company, not just any company. For
Yeah,
a
but
company to have
the,
their headquarters in London, like they are good companies,
I know,
good
but then
culture.
okay,
No be all
yes,
they
there
they
are
shout
good
for.
organizations, there are good this, but how many of it are you working? That is the thing I want to. You're working in one, Abi.
Yeah.
One,
Plus,
not
you are
all the other
only
opportunities.
one.
See, let me tell you, one of the ways for us who pay black tax, for us who send money back home, you want to like keep small money you spend changing to send back home, and all those other things. In fact, if you cannot, I cannot come here and now be living in city. That's because I have a personal bias for living in cities. I can live in a mid, like not city and not rural setting, so that I can always commute to the city, few days, come back, do stay in my quiet. I cannot be rushing for bus. One day I went to London. Is it I forgotten, is it Victoria Station in front, the bus station? They were rushing for bus. These people were rushing for bus. I say, is this Lagos? What's wrong with you
No,
people? And
that
and
doesn't happen. There are buses in London like every minute. So it all boils down to what you want as person. The convenience for me that I can just walk out there now and get pizza or buy my groceries.
I can
There's
still walk out
close
here
to
and get
me.
pizza. Wait, how many pizza? Wait, it's like you are
Things
eating
are
plenty
closer
pizza
to
every
me.
day. So it's because of pizza you are living in London.
No, I'm just saying it is
What?
convenient. Like you can easily find access. Like it's accessible to a lot of things. How many
Okay,
African store is where you are?
where I am, I have like almost 5 African stores. I drive
How
down and just
imagine
buy
being in like
everything.
Lewisham and
Eh?
Peckham African markets? Are
And
they
I
as
drive only 5 minutes, so 5 minutes is not
you
like I'm
still
driving.
drive? I
Eh?
walk to Africa. You drive to where you
It's
want to
good
buy
for your health.
products.
Walking is good for your health. Let's
Me,
not.
I walk. That's because it's so close to me. I don't need to always think of driving. If I want to go and shop,
No,
I'll
it
think of
also
driving.
depends. It also depends on where you're staying in that London. Don't forget there are people who would still have to enter train almost 45 minutes or 1 hour to get to. London is big, I
Yeah.
must say. As we speak, I think London has about 5 airports and a lot of other things. So if you're saying you want to live in London, me, I would always tell people. In fact, most people who tell me they got jobs. Oh, I have job between London and this place. I say, don't stay in London. Don't go and meet Feto Jones. In fact, I'll start putting it like that. Don't go and meet Feto Jones in London. The reason is very clear. One, you said there is African community. There's African community here, and you said you can get pizza just at your convenience. We have online. You order the pizza. It's like you are not using your phone.
How long will it take for it to be delivered?
How long will it take? The same time you will take to walk down and they'll prepare it for you. They'll deliver it to you while you're also doing other things in the house. Don't forget, you cannot just sit down and fold your hand. They'll be ordering or delivering the pizza. You would. So these things is a plus or minus, I must say. It's good to live in London, no. But if you really want to save, plan how much to buy a house. Let's go down. Let's bring it down. You want to buy a house in London? Let's start. How many years will you use to save?
I know someone who has got a house, and when he moved to London, it took him 3 years to get a house,
Okay.
and
In which
he bought a house in London.
he bought a house in London.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know ask how much you. Let's not go there. Let me not use
No,
PG
let's
now
go
to ask
there.
you.
Let's go there. That's
Let's
why
go
we're doing
there.
this video.
See,
How
I was
much did we
I
buy
was
the house?
checking houses on Rightmove, Zoopla just to buy. I was looking at houses because if I want to look for house for someone, maybe someone say, "Well, I moved to this place. Can you help me look for houses?" Sometimes I look for buying, and I'll see house 3 bedroom house 164,000, and I'll now open London. I'll see 500K, 600K. How many years will I use to save 5% of this thing? Do you get like? It's quite. I don't know. I don't know. Can you tell me why you are in London? Like, not because there are opportunities. Yes, there are opportunities in London. Every capital of every country has opportunities.
More
So let's not
opportunities.
even use that self to say,
Okay,
okay,
I will tell you why
yes,
I'm in London. One,
okay.
it is culturally diverse for me. The fact
Same as
that
Birmingham and Sheffield and Manchester City.
that is the city center. Do you live in the city center? I've been to
No,
Manchester, by the
no.
way.
London is a multicultural city, yes. So the same applies to Birmingham. Have you ever seen Birmingham? See, Birmingham is a very big city, has lots of. In fact, Sheffield still tops as one of the cities with high Nigerians or African community. If I must say, if we dig deep, London is a city. It is expected. So it is expected. Don't use that. Go to the
Okay,
next point.
the next point is I feel comfortable raising my child in London, being the fact
Okay.
that in terms of childcare, there are so many options for me, and my child will not feel like she's the only Black person in the class. And nursery are very close to me. I don't have to take the train or the bus. I can just walk to a nursery and drop my child off. And my work is in London, so I'm like
So
everything is close to me. These
so
are
basically, it's your location in London still plays a major part, because there are people who live in, let's say, City Thames Link, and because Gatwick is also London. Gatwick area is London. Peckham is
Gatwick,
London.
no, Gatwick Airport.
Gatwick area, that area.
I know Gatwick. That one is sorry, like after Red Hill. It's not
It's
London.
still
That's where
part.
I was.
It's still part of London. If you call airports in London, they always mention Gatwick. Okay, let's say Peckham. Peckham is in London, right?
Yeah,
Claf,
London.
what's this thing? Croydon and all those areas, they're in London. Let's assume you're working in Croydon and your job workplace is in City Thames Link area. All these things you mentioned would not come to play again,
First
because
of all,
childcare will not be closed. You will be jumping train every day and all these things. So your own flexibilities, because everything, bless everything just dey
no,
everything just
actually,
dey near you,
normally,
kind of.
as a person, if you're coming to the UK, it just makes sense for you to get an apartment close to where you live. When we were
Okay.
coming to the UK,
Wait,
my
close
husband
to,
got a job where he
okay.
lives. So he got a job and his office is in London. So it doesn't make sense for us to go and stay outside London because we want to save costs. Because we are going to, if you're not paying, let's say for example, we did that. We moved out of London to go and stay outside London because we are trying to save costs. We got a cheaper apartment, but the council house was more expensive because houses in those areas are newer houses. So the council tax used to be either on band B to C. While in London, most houses are old, so the council tax is a lot cheaper. And we have option to either go for prepaid or postpaid in terms of light in London than in Jordan. So at the end of the day, when we did the calculation, we found out that we were paying way more living outside London than living in London. When we moved in, we got a one-bedroom apartment for £950 per month in London. That's like 15 minutes to London Bridge. I was just one train for my husband to go to work. Me, I work in London, central London. My husband works in central London. So everything is just close to us, as in everything is accessible. When we want to go and have family fun, we don't travel so much because anything that they have in London in terms of activities, family things to do, they have it in other places, but they have it more in London. People travel from Manchester, Birmingham to come to London to have fun. I don't
No,
have to do that.
it's expected, but you would also travel
It's
to
stressful
Manchester
for
to have
me.
fun.
No, I don't. I will never travel to another city to have fun because everything is in London.
Any day I see you in another, because Esther, wait to Faith said she will never. I will underline, never travel to another city to have fun. Okay,
Everything is here.
okay.
Everything is
Okay,
here.
Let
guys.
me
Sorry. Feel free to call in. Want to hear your opinions as well. We have somebody here. I don't know who
okay.
wants to. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
All right,
My
thank
face
you.
is drying up. Let me drink Coke.
Thank you, Esther. Thank
I'm sure
you,
you trekked to
everyone.
buy that coke. You didn't enter. You didn't drive for
I
it.
tapped my finger and it came.
Did
Wait,
you order it?
You didn't order it. Okay. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Tochi. Hi, the other guest, everyone. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it. Very interesting conversation going on there. Is the name Esther your female guest?
Faith.
Faith.
Faith, yes, Faith. Faith has some very interesting contributions, and I think in some instance I agree with her. In other instance, also I
Come on,
don't.
agree with me completely.
Yeah. So with the issue of London, when it comes to entertainment, as she's been saying, yes, there's a lot to go on. There's all these shows, musical things going on every day. But for me, aside that, when the shows and the musical plays and all those things end, what next? You know, when all these things end, what next? Because I feel that anytime I go to London for a program, and let's say all these big acts are coming from Africa, and you go to see them, you spend 2-3 days in London seeing beautiful places. After that, I think it's totally finished, sort of, because the place is kind of very busy and noisy, and with everybody trying to rush out and make, their daily living. Whereas you have other very good cities as well, where um life is calm. Everybody is taking life one step at a time. There's no bustling and hustling. So for me, London is great for tourists, for all that. But to raise a family and to actually settle, it's a bit of a problem for me. Yeah.
God bless you, Frank.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. See, God bless you. See my hand. God bless you.
Yeah,
Like I
so
said, it all depends on an individual. There are some people who will rather stay in city, live their life in city. If you're that kind of a person and you decide to go and live in other places because people are telling you, oh, London is expensive, you're not going to like it. So if you're a city person, people live in Lagos. People live in the heart of Lagos, which
But
is
the,
very
but the important thing
important.
is that there
But
are other cities. From what you, sorry to cut you said if you're the person that likes cities and then you decide to go and live in other places and you will not like it. But don't forget, London is not the only city in England. That's what I'm trying. That's the
no
point I'm
matter
trying to
how
make.
city a city is, it cannot beat London. That you will not
Wait, Faith,
can't tell
So
me.
wait,
I feel like you haven't really lived in when you moved out of London, you moved to a countryside. Move to another city, then you would see. That's why
move to
people
I've
another
been to
city.
enjoy.
Manchester by the way.
I feel like those in London
I've been
are
to
just
Manchester.
struggling and trying to survive.
I've been to
See, you
Manchester.
guys,
I've been to
Let's
Canterbury.
pray for everybody in London. Tochiesther said they are just struggling and trying to
We are
survive.
not struggling.
wait. Please, no,
No.
I don't mean it in that sense.
I
I
understand.
feel like now people say there are opportunities like for your children, they get to join football teams, music classes, they get to join movies, get to expose to movie world, like so you basically see those in London acting movies and all that. And I feel like those in other cities are also exposed to these things because there are other movies. It's just that London has more opportunities. But people in other cities are exposed to these things.
Not a
Right
lot.
here in my city, there are football clubs where
Not a lot.
guys, there are opportunities that, like Kelvin said, how many do you want to do? You
How
have
many
one
of the
here that you are
opportunities do you
doing.
want to do?
Why do you
That's
want
the
to go to
thing.
the one that is in London? It's not the same thing. What's the difference?
If your child grow up in London, when they go to other places, they will not find things strange. But once you raise a child, so in another city that is not London, when they come to London, they'll be looking at, oh, this thing is new. They'll be seeing London as one,
And
something.
there's a
But
picture that
honestly,
there's a
most of
picture
us
of
did not even grow
London.
even in UK, talk less of London. So I mean, I grew up in Port Harcourt. So when I came to UK, I did not see things strange. So if your child already grew up in UK, occasionally they will be visiting London and other cities. So they won't even see it strange. Like they won't see it as is one big thing. So that point is still not valid enough to pass your
No,
point. You
your child will be
understand?
exposed to civilization. And trust me, there are some people who live in some part of the UK, and when you come to London, they find so many things strange or new. So, and this things happens in London that if you just walk out of your street, you see things like you see life. It's not like you have to travel down to somewhere to go and experience life. Life happens every day in London in front of your house, on the road, and all of that.
So
And I feel
in
like
our own
there is
cities,
a
life is
picture of
not happening in
London that
front.
movies paint that I don't like. I'm sure you would have watched some of these movies that they paint blacks in London as I don't know. So with that alone, I can't even raise my kids in London. I don't think I can. See, where they have so many black people, like London, according to Faith, I don't think I can raise my kids. Or it's wise because
Anything that have
there's this bad
advantage
picture
has
that's been painted already. If you watch the movies, there's this. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying. So
Anything that have advantage also have its disadvantage. So
So
if you
what
raise
are the
your child,
disadvantages?
if you
Because
raise your child in a place that is not dominated by their kind, they are going to be bullied. They are going to experience racism. And I'm not saying this from I know someone who lived in Manchester, a particular place in Manchester, and she will always say this to me, Faith, I will never advise any black person to go and live in that community. So you're going to face tons of things. Your child do not be my child cannot be bullied. I'm not saying like in London your child cannot be bullied, but I'm just saying having your child in a place where they feel included, they don't feel so much difference, like the only black person in the class. I think for me is everything. Like,
See, we agree with all you are saying, but we're just saying that the cost of living in London is ridiculous, right?
in
And
the
if
UK,
you are a prudent person that just wants to save and just be comfortable in the UK, then London is not for you. That's my
you can
point.
still save I just told you someone migrated from Nigeria to London, lived in London, is bought a house in London. What are you saying? You can
How
still
many
save
percent?
in London.
Check
He
blacks
did
that
not
live in
even use
other cities and the percentage of settling down, and check the percentage of blacks settling
is
down in London and
is
see.
the person is the
It's
person doing
different.
urgent 2K job like some of us working in the NHS?
So you can buy a house anywhere very affordable, but can you does the house appreciate? London, if you buy a house now in the next 2 months, the house rent, if you want to sell back that house, you get more money.
House appreciates everywhere, Faith.
Everywhere. House is
Not as
Maybe
fast
appreciating
London
as
rates
everywhere.
London.
might be
Not as
higher,
fast as
but
London.
it appreciates everywhere. We have a new person in our midst. Let's add him and see what he has to say or hear. Hi, Samuel.
Yeah, hello guys.
Hi.
Hello.
This is indeed an interesting conversation. Well, I think first of all, just like the first the other person that came in, Yuli said, I agreed with Faith with just a couple of things. But look, bringing up your children in a place that is white dominated, for me, I think it's not a good idea because in most cases that child will feel left out. So in that perspective, I agree with Faith. And again, London, yeah, like Esther have said, London is it's a good city. Trust me, it is a good city. If every other place as beautiful as London, everyone want to live there. But the thing is, the cost of living is one thing. Okay.
I agree.
Now, properties appreciate everywhere, but the rate at which they appreciate is different. And I believe that London will appreciate more, no doubt. But again, I live in Leicester, okay, and Leicester is a multicultural city. A lot of people live here, and a lot of blacks here, a lot of Indians, and all of that. So, grooming your children here, it's a good thing because when they turn around, they see people of color, and they don't feel that being alone. That feeling of being in the midst of all white. You feel like you're the only one that is there, make you feel a little bit isolated. Okay, so it's a good thing. But the thing is, look, even if you are a tourist, it's not every day. You didn't come to the UK to be going for tourists, to be going out to have fun. You are working. It's just once in a while you go out. So for me, traveling from Leicester to London once in a while for the beauty of things and other things, it's not a bad idea. But going to live in London because of the beauty and I don't think it's a good idea at all. Trust me, it is not
So
a good idea.
we are on the same boat. We are on the
Yes.
same boat. So Esther, Faith, he has
No,
moved from your boat and joined our boat.
no, what I'm saying,
No,
if
please,
you
I'm
are
waiting
going
for
for
London callers, people that will support Faith. I don't know why nobody is calling to join Faith. You
no,
guys, let
if
me
you're
post the
working
link
in
again
London,
for you guys to join.
if you're working in London, it makes sense to live in London. But if you're not working in London, it doesn't make any sense to live here. My
But
Agree.
sister, my
Faith,
partner,
what
works
we
in
are not
London.
talking about those working in London. We are talking about generally living in London or outside London, other cities, which is better for me. Bro, I stay in Derby, and it's close to other cities. London is not close to any other city. I can tell you, Derby or Leicester is close to Birmingham, it's close to Sheffield, it's close to Wolverhampton, it's close to Manchester, it's close to all the other cities you can talk about. And is less than an hour. If you want to move from Leicester to Derby, it's 20 minutes drive or 20 minutes by train. If you want to move from Leicester to London, it's about an hour or two by EMR train line or so, fast train. and you can move from Leicester to Sheffield, and all these are major cities surrounding this area. So for me, it's fun. Like, it's fun when you are in the midst of this place. Like, I can work in Leicester now, and I'll just drive down to work one every morning or so. And you can even use train. But if you're in London, London is so busy. Like, it's like as if you're in Lagos. Like, it's like you are rushed.
The
I think if you're coming
the,
to the
the
UK for
funny
the
thing,
first time, you should start with London. Then you can now go to other
No,
cities.
I
I
feel
would agree with you. I would
for
not
me, the
advise.
reverse is the case. I feel you should live in other cities first, get stabilized, and if you want to move to London, then you can move. And if the thing is not the way you can just change
Look,
your position and run back.
look. First of all, I think I won't advise anyone coming to the UK for the first time to go live in London. Not at all. And trust me, I have seen a lot of people who have been in the UK for over 10, 15 years who have been in London or somewhere around London moving down because of the cost of living. Okay. I agree also that if you stay in London, no doubt the jobs there, the hourly rate is a bit high, probably to make up for that cost of living, but it's not enough. Okay, I will not advise anyone coming to the UK for the very first time. If you're watching this video and you are in if you're outside the UK, please, it is suicide. It is suicide coming to the. Trust me, it is. Look, trust me, it is. Don't come to the UK. If you come to the UK and move down to London, in 2-3 days you'll be shouting, "This is not what I was told. This is not what I was told." Trust me.
Thank you, Samuel. I think I thank you for that point. Honestly, I feel like those in London are the ones that basically tell people don't move abroad or don't come to UK. UK is hard. That's because, like I said earlier, most of them are struggling. Somebody said if you're not earning from like 45K in London, you will really struggle. And that's the truth. Because rent alone is very expensive. You're working and paying basically all your money on rent. And then to you, UK is hard because you're just struggling, working, paying rent. You can't even buy a car because, of course, buses, you can't own, like, it's not advisable to own cars in London. So you're
You
basically
don't need a car in London.
exactly, that's my point.
Talking about
Exactly. And
Faith,
then you're
just
jumping train every morning. You're living in a studio apartment. Face me, I slap you.
No.
You enter the house. Even when you're pregnant, Faith, you can't even enter. There's some houses in London that when you're pregnant, you can't pass through the door because it's
Look,
so
Yeah.
small.
Other areas.
Esther,
not
let me
just
let me
London.
let me
Houses
say
in
something
UK
quickly.
generally are built small.
Let me use myself for instance, okay?
Thank you.
Now, when I came to the UK, okay, of course, Leicester has been almost the only place I have resided. All right, I moved to a house. My first apartment is in a shared property. My own room was about $390 a month, and then I saw that it was too expensive. And trust me, I left to a place where I was paying from $390. I was paying $310, $315 a month. You can never get even a garage in London. You can never get it for that amount. Now I am living in a 1-bedroom flat, okay, and I'm paying $525. That's the cost of a single room in London.
no,
Yeah.
that is it cannot afford a single room in London.
Shared
Okay.
apartment, studio.
It cannot
like,
afford shared apartment in London.
Using your steps to enter.
Look, look,
Where
London in all its glory, is not for.
It's like,
it is for
see,
those in
guys,
Buckingham Palace.
listen to Samuel, okay? Listen to Samuel. If you're planning to move to the UK and you have a choice, stay away from London.
Even if your university is in London, please look for a
enjoy your
city
life.
close.
Now,
If you're for example, if your university is in London and you're going for school just twice a week, you don't have a business living in London. You don't have a business. Just go there, go to school, finish your school, and go back to the other city you are staying.
In London, you can walk to any store and tell them if you want to work, that do they need someone.
Really?
I mean, can you do that in other cities?
Of course you can.
You can do that in other cities.
The reason Faith is so adamant is because Faith has never lived.
London that is the city in the UK.
The reason Faith is so adamant is because Faith has never lived in any other city in England.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Landlord, travel and see.
It's like a fish trying to describe the world.
So Faith, Faith, the point is, companies are looking for people for them to work, right? And it's the same across the UK. It's not just distinct to London. If you walk into a shop in Canterbury and say, please, do you need a shop assistant? It's the same in London. whether they need it or not depends on the current employment situation over there in that particular shop. So I think what the other guy is saying, that I think you've lived in London all your life and you have not experienced other side of the UK. And talking about where you said your kids must grow up in communities where there are other Black people, trust me, right now as you speak, I would say that almost every city here in the UK has a Black community. It's there. Blacks are everywhere, and if you go into the schools, you find Blacks in the classrooms everywhere. So maybe you have just not experienced it, or you don't have friends who live in other cities who tell you stories. But trust me, if you are truly here to put some money aside in the bank and in the pocket, London is not a place to stay.
It's not an option at all. It's not.
Yeah,
But
and
people
what
are
you
It's the
living in
realize,
last
London
sentence for
at
me.
the same
Trust
time,
me,
and
if
God
you're
is
truly here to put some money in the pocket and your
people
bank
are
to save,
living
London is not the place for you.
It's
It's not.
not.
You see,
and
even
have you
putting money out
See,
hold
to
on.
you will
live
let
say
me
in
that
London.
you say
let me
that you're
add.
a flexing person. You only like big cities. You will come to UK and you will struggle. Your mates
You go
would
run
have
dry.
gone
You go run
past
dry.
you.
You go
Your
run
mates,
dry.
people you came with the same year, will buy their houses, buy their cars, living comfortably. You will still be struggling and telling people, don't come to UK. UK is hard. Because
Talking
you're
about
living in a one-room apartment,
talking
you are
about
struggling, paying rent, jumping from train to train every morning, and your mates are... See, people in other places can visit London. From here to London is how many hours drive? I'm in London. Do whatever I want to
There
do,
are bullet
party,
trains
club, do
everywhere.
whatever. If you're a city person, if you're attending a concert, Davido's concerts, Nathaniel Bassey's concerts, you attend
Me,
and go
I
back
don't
to your
have to go
city,
without stress.
right? You
It's
don't
the
have to live in
convenience for
London
me.
and be struggling
Accessibility.
just to enjoy all these
Other
things.
cities, do
You
they
can
have
live in
Faith,
other places and
Faith
what?
is
still
talking
enjoy
about.
all these things. There are
Faith
people
is
that live
talking
in
about.
my city that visit
Everything
London
is
almost
accessible
every
here.
weekend.
Are you just coming to the UK to save or to also enjoy your life?
But
That's
Because
what I'm saying. You
you will
can
say
enjoy
all
your
these things
life
to the same.
living in
How are
other
you enjoying? Are
cities.
let
you
me ask you a
living your
question,
life?
Faith. Faith, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many times do you go out for this fun thing? How many times in a week, or let me say in a month? How many times do you go out to enjoy yourself? Like,
The fact that it's close to me, that I don't have to plan it or think it, I can just wake up and be like, okay, I'm going
no.
somewhere.
How many times have
It's
you woken up to
enough.
go there?
I don't go all the time, but if I want to go, I don't have to plan it and start booking hotels or all those things to come to London. No, because I can
You see,
go.
I understand, but you know what? For us who are living outside of London, okay, when we do that, it makes more meaning to us because it's like you're giving yourself a treat.
It's
But
stressful.
for you who is there and you don't have a plan, just walk into it. The fun is not even that much. There are some times where you get used to it. You see, the thing is, it's not about having those things around you. Okay, look, whether we like it or not, the reason why we left our countries to this country is to come and make some money. You understand what I mean? So anything that make you safe. Look, I got a job. My current job, my office is based in Bristol. All right. And when I got that job, during the interview process, everything, I intended to move to Bristol to go and work. But when I got the job and I started looking for accommodation, my people, what I was seeing as the monthly rent was over the roof in Bristol. And I said to myself, I said, what I'm earning after taking away the deductions and everything, I said to myself, if I go there, I'll not have anything to save at the end of the month. I had to discuss my employers and allow me to work from home. Look, it is not about being in the midst of those. It's the cost of being in the midst of those things that we're talking about. It's the cost of it.
I feel like the only thing expensive is rent
Faith,
in
Faith,
London. It's mostly
Faith,
rent.
talking about Black community, almost every let's say 100 meters I walk when I'm taking a walk in the evening, I see a Black person in Derby. There are lots of Black communities in Derby.
Derby,
In
Coventry, Leicester. Those are the
Leicester,
headquarters.
Sheffield, there are lots of Black communities. Okay, so it's even very good. Talking about childcare is for us. We're happy to find someone who will be able to be taking care of our child when we are working. So it's for me, it's more flexible in places like this. I can easily travel to Leicester. I can easily travel to Nottingham. I can easily travel to Sheffield. I can easily travel to Manchester City and all the Manchester. But if you're in London, they move. You are just there in London. And just know that the world is not just about London. The world is not just about
Why you
London.
to leave London when everything is here? You guys are the one
Everything
that
is not in London.
experience London.
Everything.
Have you-
That you people's beach. That you people's beach that look like what I don't know.
Experience the UK. You have to
Wait,
travel.
that you people's beach that looks like where they pour sand in front of someone's doorstep. They said there's a beach in London. I went there one day. It's looking like what
Have you guys realized that people who live in London, like almost everybody, no one smiles? Have you guys seen that?
At least
Yeah.
it's
I'm the only one smiling.
It's some
Like, you guys
mental.
are just
They're
I'm
having
the
some
only one
mental
that is
stress.
smiling here.
Oh no, it's serious. It's serious.
No,
They
I
did
don't
a-
agree with that.
People in London, everybody is busy on the streets, just going up and down. No smiles, no hello, nothing. No, you cannot live like that.
exactly. Talking about hello. Do you know that the first time, because I was living down south, not too far from London, near Brighton. Brighton is also one of the costliest cities in England. Now I was living down south near Brighton. Nobody just says hello, hi, how are you when you're walking on the street. But I went to one of the cities up north, and I was moving down to see who I went to visit, and someone was in their garden and I say, oh, hi, how are you? I'm like, am I in England or what? Like, there's a change. But in London, everybody is moving. That's why I say it's like Lagos. Like, everybody is rushing, moving down. You go to underground, everybody, you see people jumping that ticket machine area,
Yeah, because
jumping
they want to
the
pay.
gate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what kind of life is this? Like, this is what you want my children to see. Maybe I'm holding my child now, walking down, and if you see someone jumping, you want to be jumping too. It's
People
not.
say
It doesn't make
hello to me in
sense.
London. I
the
don't know
bills
what
are
you guys are
pursuing
talking
them.
about. People say hello to me in London a lot. So I mean, it's I don't know what you're talking about.
Not
I'm
I
the
just
one
said
living here.
they even hit you while walking, and
I'm
they
the
walk.
one living
But
here.
I think
And I'll tell you, people are nice here.
I also believe that if Faith should leave London to any of the places like Leicester, for instance, she's good. There's a tendency that she's going to look down on the cities and the people around them. Because I've seen a lot of Londoners who travel, whenever they come to visit their people in other parts of the country, they was like, can't stay in this bush. I've seen a lot of them. I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of them say things like that. See, look, I'm telling you, if Faith should go to move out of London to another place, and we have this conversation again, she's going to say that. She certainly will, because I've seen a lot of
the bush. To be honest, I can't live in the bush, guys. I can't.
No, Faye, that's where you get it wrong. It's not in the bush. No.
Leicester is not a bush.
I stayed in Surrey. I don't know if you know Surrey, very close to Croydon. It's not far
Kent.
from London. But I hated it, guys. It's not like bush.
Surrey is not a city. Did you ever hear of Surrey when you were back home in Nigeria? Surrey is not a city; it's a village.
It's not that village. It's close to.
There are cities you hear of even when you were back in Nigeria: Manchester, Leicester, Birmingham. You hear of all these cities.
Do you know you cannot stay in the city center in Manchester? Like the rent in Manchester is almost the same as London. So what's the difference? Why should I live in Manchester?
No, it's not
sorry,
the same.
Stop you there. Sorry, I'll stop you there, Faith. That's not true.
On average, Manchester
That's
is
not
one of the most
Manchester
affordable,
City. I know someone who is paying 1.2 for a 2-bedroom in Manchester, and it is almost the same as staying here.
2-bedroom, maybe ask the person the facilities they sometimes when you get a house.
It's in the city center.
So 1,200 for a 2-bedroom, like it all depends on maybe the contract or what was in their house. For instance, I know someone that rented a 3-bedroom for 1,000. The reason is that this house already came with American freezer. You know the American freezer, it had some essential commodities inside it already. That's basically what that person is paying for. You know, when you were making some of the points you were making earlier, I was just ruling them out that if this is all that it is to London, then I can have it in other major cities in the UK. Believe me, you can have that. Every city, when you hear Manchester, there are local areas in Manchester, right? But if you are the city type, there are some other exposed places in Manchester, for instance, equivalent to London. London is London. We can't take that away. London is London. But when you place the advantages of London, when you weigh it side by side with the disadvantages, I don't even think that the advantages come any close to the disadvantages. Okay, so like
Favor,
Kelvin
God
was
bless
asking
you. Favor.
Kelvin was
What's your
asking
heart desire? God will grant it for you this night.
the opportunities.
Wait, let me read this comment. Very funny. Somebody said there's no Debbie. There's no. Where's that comment? Oh God, people, you guys are funny. He said there's no Tesco in Debbie.
Can you imagine? Do you
That's
want me to
what I'm
browse
saying.
in my
People
phone?
think that if you live outside London, you're living in a village.
Look,
See, wait, all
Who
those
said
your
there's no
stores,
Tesco in
everything we
Derby?
have in London, right?
guy, that one is
We have it in other cities. Tesco in
Yes.
London
But
is
it has to
Tesco
be in the
in
city center.
Bristol,
That's what I'm saying.
in
If you want to
Manchester.
live in the city center, you'll
Um,
be spending close to the amount you'll be spending in terms of rent and cost of living,
no,
similar to London. So what's the difference?
that's not
See,
true.
Okay,
see,
That's
let
not
me
I
tell
want
you.
to. They
I
are
live
cheap.
in
In fact,
the
that
part of
reminds me now, right? Let's talk about cheap cities that people can move to in the UK. Because there are a lot of people that have been asking questions about, where is now the best place to move, right? So, guys, you guys tell us just name few cheap cities or few affordable cities you think you would advise people to move to.
I think I will go with Leicester as one of them. Leeds is one of them.
Leicester,
Yeah,
right?
Leicester is one of the cheap city you can go to. And look, there are shops almost everywhere. And if you're a kind of person who don't like most of these English kind of food, I'm an African. I eat most of African food, and I have lots of shops around me. Just 4 minutes down the road here, I get to Nabro Road, and there are lots and lots of shops. So you can get everything you need, very affordable. You don't need to stress your pocket too much.
See,
As a student, I was when I was earning about £1,200, I could at least save up to 800 a month. I don't have to spend too much.
I
Okay,
can
so
tell you when it comes to cheap cities, anything far away from South and London is cheap.
correct.
And
Yeah,
then you don't
a
have
lot.
to live in the
Yes.
major cities or in the heart of the cities. So, for
Yes,
Yeah.
example, I stayed down south. It's not even close to London. I still take like 1 hour, 30 minutes train to London. If I get to London Victoria first, before I start going to where I'm going to, and I'll still paying very high rent because it's also close to Brighton. So you see, so you anything away from southeast, then you start moving to Midlands like Leicester, Nottingham, Derby. Then you move to Sheffield, then you move up to Manchester, and all. It's cheap when you start going up. Then you move to
no,
Leeds, so
yeah,
it gets cheaper. But one of the trick here is don't live in the city center.
Yeah.
In any of the cities you move to, don't live in the city center. And then for me, when I was living down south, I was cycling to work. And I can walk down to my workplace 25 minutes, or I can cycle 9 to 10 minutes to work. So it depends on if you want to use bus all the time. Because before I wait for bus for 30 minutes and bus will go round, round, round and drop people before it takes me to work. Me that is cycling, I've reached work. And then when I close, I can easily use my cycle and go back home. So it also depends on what you want for yourself. Anything away from London and then going up
south is
north is
expensive. Yeah.
cheap, but
very
don't
correct.
live in the city center. I live in Derby, and those who live in the city center, of course, I even know someone that moved to the city center, 2 bedroom flat for 650. So it's not even that costly
It's
when
not
you're even living
expensive.
in city centers in some of these cities that are away from London. And it has everything. 2 minutes away from bus station for this person. He walks down to bus, and then he's in the city. Like I know he's beside the post office, he's beside all the other amenities. So Derby has a stadium too. Derby has swimming pool. And there are other places. High Peak District, Lake District is not far from Derby. It's not far from Leicester. So when you're saying that you don't have to plan it, is it every time? I was asking you, is it every time you enjoy the facilities? No.
Guys, if you're coming to the UK and you want accessibility, you want things accessible to you, please don't go and live in the bush.
The way UK is designed, the way UK
What you
is
mean?
designed,
Excuse me,
It's
please.
the way she's calling bush. Please, Faith
Yeah,
Ojo,
the way
define bush.
the way
According to Oxford Dictionary, I'm going to read out bush.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
sure
going
the
to
people you are talking to,
define
Faith,
bush.
the people you are talking to, anywhere they are coming from, they will rather say that that place is bush. Anywhere in UK is
but
not even bush compared
look,
to where they are coming from.
No, if
So,
you're not
so
busy,
some
please.
people will not even mind. It's not really about that. I wanted to talk about the transportation in London. See, if you have kids, because when they say that you don't need car in London, well, you don't need a car because first of all, to maintain car in UK is expensive, but it's on another level in London. Okay, parking. Where will you even see to park? To start with, so that is even why many people in London, they don't need a car. But if you have kids and you are going out, as boisterous as that city is, and you have 3 kids, 4 kids all by yourself and you are holding them, it's not like if you jump out of every house in London, there's a bus stop in front of you. That's not true. There are major bus stops, but it's not like once you come out. This is winter, because it's not even about some people. They can afford to have a car, they can buy a car, but when they look at it, parking space, doing this, doing that, it's better they don't. Is it? I think Kelvin talked about how people rush are down on that underground. I've been to London how many times? And I'm like, what's going on here? Really? What's really going on here? Transportation in London is mad.
They all have that
Why would
Lagos.
somebody want to have 4 kids in the UK? UK that is expensive.
Hey,
No, people already have it and they are coming. We are talking
people
to
that already
our
have it
people
before
that we
coming
know.
here, they should
already have kids
tell
and they
the
are
other
coming and
two.
we are telling them to come to London.
Come and have plenty of children. Your money will finish.
People already have them, okay? There are people that they already have
I
them.
don't envy people that have more than 2 children in this UK, whether you're in
Faith,
London or outside London.
Before we proceed, you keep calling other cities in UK, in England, bush. Please, according to Oxford
It is not
Dictionary,
better.
bush is a plant that grows thickly with hard stems coming up from the
Wait,
roots.
I'll give you my definition of bush. Don't worry. My definition
I'm reading it out.
is when you don't have access to things. Things are not accessible. You have to travel. You have to drive. Like Tochi, in her former apartment, she drives 25 minutes to go to Primark.
Accessibility, the way you define it, is not true. And look, the way the UK is designed, I'm not sure any part of the UK, except you are living in the countryside, and also any part of the UK where you will live and you have issue accessing facilities. I'm not sure. Okay, I know there are a few places where you have to drive from
Accessibility. No, you
I don't
can't
live
tell
in
me that. No, some places that you have to trek 10 minutes to the train station. Why would you trek 10 minutes?
Trekking 10 minutes is hard work, Faith.
London have made you live.
So wait, when you were in Nigeria, you don't need to trek 10 minutes.
Why would they trek?
So wait, the headline for this thing, Esther, please, Esther, when you want to put this video out, the headline, you use Faith. You say, why will you trek for 10 minutes? That should be the headline. Faith doesn't want to trek.
Faith, did you just say walking 10 minutes is a lot of work?
In winter, yeah, you'll be like winter. No,
Faith, I think
and your leg, you cannot move again.
I'm done with you, Faith. I'm done with you.
Faith is just lazy, very lazy.
Listen.
Faith, we have cars, okay? So we don't have to trek, we can just drive.
Let me
to the UK.
Yeah.
I had to walk 30 good minutes to work.
You
30
see?
good minutes.
Nah.
Because wait. It's not that there were no vehicles or I didn't have a car or I couldn't afford a car. The plan was to save as much as possible. Now 30 minutes. And you can imagine how much money I was able to put together for that entire period. It wasn't only difficult, or I should say it wasn't unpleasant. It was very, very good exercise for me. 30 minutes. A black man in the UK seeing all these nice buildings, walking for 30 minutes. I could have even gone for 2 hours.
Bro, how
Trust
did you
me.
survive? Was it during winter? Because I cannot.
Yeah,
Faith, let me
in London. Excuse me, please.
Faith, let me buttress his point. Yeah.
Just said,
no, I think this
when
girl
I
had
lived
millions.
in London,
Trust
the
me.
tube was 25 minutes walk. So
why did you
I feel
rent a house 25 minutes from the train station?
Oh my God.
London. It's not to live in London.
Is the train station the most
and we're still walking
important
25 minutes.
See, Faith, let me tell you, let me buttress a point. Yeah. I stayed in a town because a city. I stayed in a town, and my house was in the town center, but my workplace was not in town center. Most hospitals in the UK are not in the town center or in the city center. They're usually like just at the outskirts of the city centers. Okay. Now I have to choose either living in the hospital accommodation, which is like face me, I slap you kind of building, shared apartment, or I move into the town center area. Now I was living in town center, fine. It's close to Tesco, close to Sainsbury's, close to all the other things. In fact, 9 minutes walk to train station, not bad. But I have to now decide to be using bus to go to work. I said, no, I'm not using bus to go to work. I walk to work sometimes, or I use cycle. Now, it's not only the fact that it's very convenient for me, but it's good for my health. Like I was fit.
Please.
I was fit. The first time I cycled to work, I told my people, I said, I cycled to work. I used almost 20 minutes for the first day, which is a normal 9 minute. Map was telling me
No,
10
you
minutes
can't
cycle.
tell
Me,
me
I used 20
anything.
minutes.
I cannot
But then,
understand with you. Like,
but in the long run, I was able to start cycling 10 minutes on the dot, and I was even doing it faster for 8 minutes. So your health is very important. Which one is you cannot trek 10 minutes,
don't
Faith?
look for someone that is not looking
Faith,
good.
Faith, can you give us
No, I know.
can you give
Come
us
on, it's
some
not about.
change? It's like
No,
you
I'm
have a
not saying
lot.
you're not fit, but I'm not saying you don't value that 10 minutes walk.
No, I
Faith
think why
Faith
do
said
I
it's
need to
punishment.
stress when everything is close to me?
So
So I
Faith, you
get
don't even trek at all. So
I get
there
the
is
How
bus
far
Tesco
is
in
stop
your
your
is
house
workplace?
now as we
How far is
speak.
your workplace from your
yeah, the
house?
bus stop is just right in front of your house,
The
I
bus
guess.
stop is in front of her. The train station is in front of her. The swimming pool is in front of her. London Bridge is in front of her.
Hospital in front of you.
You get
Tesco,
it? Everything
Audi,
by
Primark,
the corner.
everything is in front of
They
Faith.
are all in front of our house.
Yeah, everything is close to me. I don't have to work inside cold winter for 30 minutes. What kind of health, whatever? I don't understand. I don't want to be fit or healthy.
Someone said a lot of us are like robots with my personality. I only smile when I get home. This is the life of Londoners. They only smile when they get home.
Inside all of us here, who is smiling past? Be honest. Look
Please
at
let me
my
change my battery, guys.
I'm
Now,
happy.
now,
All right.
now I see why Faith smile very well during when she's doing her videos. And maybe that's the only time she has to smile.
No, don't say that. I'm always happy. London makes me happy, guys. I cannot look. The money in this London, you guys cannot compare. Like, no. Mm-mm. If it's not London, it's not anywhere.
No,
Spend
I
it all on your
understand. I
bills and
understand
your
where you're
rent.
coming
So,
from. But when we compare London to other cities, yes, London is the heart of England. Yes, is an economic city. Yes, it has lots of airports. It has lots of tourist sites. It has lots of foreigners, and it's a mixed city. I understand that. But is it worth it paying enormous rent and bills and all that just to live in London, or you stay in other cities that afford you such luxury as well? Do you know that if
And
I
then
want to
you
live,
can visit London and have all that fun as
It
well.
cannot
instead of
be London.
if I have 1,005, I can be using to pay rent every month. Let's assume I'm working in a job that is paying me 6,000 every month, and I
Where is
have
that money?
wait.
That money you are
Let's
saving.
assume I have 6,000
You need to
monthly
spend it on
salary,
yourself.
and I have to pay 1,500 for rent. I will not still move to London.
I'm paying one
I rather,
for 2 bedroom. I don't think it's bad.
You pay how
I
much?
don't
I rather move.
one
I rather move. I rather move to another
Look
city
at
like Birmingham or Manchester, because that 1,500 will afford me estates. In fact,
A bigger house.
and are
And
we,
you
why are we
bigger
not even
house.
talking
a big
about?
house. When
Trust-
you now come out of your house, everything is now bush. You're not living
Why is
like
Faith saying everything is
I
bush?
told you guys. You see the way Faith is sounding. I'm not very surprised because I have heard a lot of Londoners speak, and I know the way they look down on other cities. Even Birmingham
It
is the
depends on
second
where they
largest city
went
in the
to.
UK. Even Birmingham is the second largest
I've
city
been
in
to
the.
Manchester and
What part of Manchester did you visit?
Manchester City, very close to the train station. That
Is
city
it Piccadilly
bad.
train station?
Yeah, Piccadilly, yeah, train station.
So did you see bush? Was there bush there?
It's not bush. So I know someone who lived there and is paying like 1.2 for 2 bedroom. What difference does it make? Why would I go and pay 1.2 2 bedroom to live in that city center because it's close to Piccadilly? Why in London I'm paying 1.3 and I can get every other thing and it's not far
Every
from
other thing like what? Tell me what you can get in London that you can't get in Manchester city center.
You
Tell
can
me,
snap a
please.
Yeah,
picture
no
and
matter
that's
what
the
you
question.
Tell me what you
Yeah.
can get
it
there that
cannot
you
be
can't
compared
get.
to London. People
Job.
travel.
Wait, what, guys? Why are we not talking about how busy generally living in UK is? Because Kelvin was asking you initially, Faye, tell me how many of these opportunities do you utilize? Because we
How
don't even talk about
many?
how
Only
busy
one.
people are.
Career-wise,
You won't even have the time to explore all of these every now and then. These are things that you do once in a while.
It's career. I can move like in my career in terms of career growth, in terms of earnings. I'm earning well in London.
You spend it too. See, I'm a social
Okay.
worker. I know the salary of social workers in UK, in London rather. Tell me about it. It's nothing. Like when you cut out after the bills and the expenses, you don't save anything. Even somebody that is working in
Based
a town.
on what Faith said, you actually can't get pizza in Manchester. If it's not in London, you can't get pizza any other place in England.
I said London.
But wait, Faith, let me ask you one question, Faith. Living in London will make you not even know about cars again. I'm sure you don't. If I bring a car
Why
logo
do
now
I
and show you, you
need
don't
cars?
know.
Buses are just everywhere. Like buses come every 2 minutes. Not like in other cities where you have to wait 30 minutes for one bus to come
No,
back.
in Manchester, it's every 10 minutes. Okay, there are so
You
many
see,
places,
10
not just
minutes,
in
2 minutes.
Manchester,
The
that
difference
buses
is
come every
I
10
don't have that
minutes.
patience when wait 10 minutes when I can get it in 2 or 3.
Someone in the comment section say, last, Faith not just like bush. Anything that is not London is bush, and Faith doesn't relate.
The problem is not that she doesn't like bush. The problem is her definition of bush. Anywhere that's not London is a bush. That's the only definition of bush.
Exactly.
No, I'm just saying, those of you saying you can live in other city centers aside from London, like Manchester, Leeds, all those city centers are quite as expensive as London. So
No,
what?
No.
they are not.
Faith.
Leicester city center. I live in Leicester. The rent I pay. I don't live in the city center, but I know people who live in the city center. They pay the same rent.
Faith, where you live in London? Where you live in London and you pay that amount of money, do you know there are other places that are higher than where you live, where you even maybe to some places in London where you live is a bush, okay? And go and ask them how much they pay there. So it's just the same thing. Everywhere in London can never be like that.
Like 15 minutes to London Bridge. Like I literally
Okay.
walk to my office at this point.
So you walk a whole 15 minutes.
But I'm gonna walk. I'm saying.
Excuse
No,
me,
you
guys.
literally walk 15 minutes to your office.
No, I said I'm not going to work, but I'm just saying it's 15 minutes to my office. I can if I want to. Those of you who work 30 minutes.
15 minutes walk, you know they walk.
Wow, where bus is there?
Excuse me, guys. Please, if you live in London here, I know you are some people are supporting Faith in the comment section. Feel free to call in. Well, but some people are shy.
It's getting hot. Let me take this jacket off. It's getting hot. Faith is putting me on a hot.
We want more people from London to call in and tell us why people should move to London. Sorry, but now I just want to ask, because the truth is there are people who cannot help it, right? There are people who get jobs in London, admissions in London, they can't help it. So we just want suggestions. Cities that are close to London that people can live in and still be able to at least save, something with your family. So just maybe the comment sections, those that are here, if you know cities close to London that people can live in and still be able to, just survive and get by.
But anywhere that is close to London is still going to be expensive because it's close to London. A lot of people are going to live there, so the rent sort of goes up when people are running from London to that place. So like Purley, Whiteleaf, Sutton or Caterham around Surrey, it's just you don't need to pay. It's just tap your card for the train. As long as you're not buying train ticket of £30 or £40 to travel to London, don't go and live in those cities where you have to pay like £30 or £40 to travel to London. It doesn't make any sense. It could actually then just live in London. But if it has to be like you can tap in £4, you don't need to buy tickets special, then those are the kind of cities you should live in. But again, I don't know. There's no difference, to be honest. You're still going to be spending that money. If you don't spend it on rent, you pay council tax, because some of these houses are new houses and the council tax band are usually on the high side. What we enjoy in London is most of the houses are old, so the council tax are really...
So you agree that most of the houses in London are old? Okay,
yeah,
good point. One point.
What's your council tax?
So wait. So I will not go. I will go and be paying big money to live in old house in London. Okay, good.
Faith, how much your council tax, Faith? I would like to.
Why me?
130. How many bedrooms?
190 every month.
Per month? Wow.
Wow.
No, hold on.
Mine is not even up to that. Like, wow. Now.
Mine is £111.
Mine is 130.
It's one bedroom. I bet
3 bedrooms. 130.
You see,
130 for what?
Favor, you're living in a 3-bedroom, right? If you were in London, your husband will living in face me, I slap you.
Tell me about it.
and you'll be paying higher rent, like higher
Tell me
rent
about
for
it.
when I say when you're pregnant, you can't enter the kitchen because some London
It's a
kitchens are
lie.
so
Have you
tiny.
seen my apartment tour? Don't say
Of
that.
course, I've seen it now. Faith, why would I see it?
It's big.
It's still Faith. It's like Faith. When you get pregnant, please move out of your house, or you can't enter. You see, you have to squeeze yourself like this to enter your toilet or your kitchen.
My kitchen and my lounge are almost the same size.
Well, I don't care what you guys are saying right now.
You're just so much in love with London, I guess.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
I say you're so much in love with London, I guess.
I mean, who doesn't love London? You guys that are saying if they made rent like
No,
500
we
pounds,
love
all of
we
you
love London.
You guys
No,
will
it's
not
an
shut up if
undisputed
rent is
fact.
cheap.
We
So,
love London. But what we are arguing, our point
Yeah,
is why should we pay?
Kelvin. Sorry.
Okay.
Someone is asking, how can I call it? I want to join. The link is here. Feel free to just click on the link and join. Okay, let me paste it again for anybody that wants to join. If you live in London, if you want to support Faith, if you want to tell us, suggest cities that people can move to if they have a job or accommodation, admission in London, whatever it is, just feel free to call in. And if you also want, if you're calling against London as well, feel free to call in.
Esther, I think in terms of jobs, personally, if I'm looking for any job in London, I look for a job that maybe requires maybe a few visits to the office. I look for mostly remote jobs. Seriously, because look, I know the earnings in London may be high, but that's not about in all cases, because there's sometimes you see a job in London, it's not the take home is not that much, but you still have to battle with the rent and all those things. So personally, I look for a hybrid, either 100% remote or hybrid with just few visits, maybe once a month or twice a month to London. That's what I do.
Most jobs are hybrid now or totally work from home. But if you're a student and you get admission in London, please stay, because London, as a student, if you're coming alone though, if you're not coming with your family, as a single student, there are opportunities like side hustle that you can do if you're not lazy. And also you can work and earn more.
Okay,
Yeah,
I saw there was a point you made. Said if you're coming in as a single student and so what if the person is married? Do you still advise them to move into London?
I can never relate to people who are coming to the UK as a student and coming with 3 or 4 children. Like, how do you want to do it? I don't understand. I can never relate. UK is generally expensive. So
and London is more expensive.
London is more expensive. I agree with you. See, I'm not saying London is not expensive. It is expensive, but people are here and are enjoying it and are living the life to the fullest. Okay? So, if you're a student and you're single, there are opportunities. There are so many side hustles here. Unlike if you go and stay in Debbie, inside bush, you have to be... You don't have to be looking
We'll carry this fight. We'll fight this fight on this target. Let's not even argue. You see, if you're a student...
Sorry. On a serious note, think very well before you move to London. Don't listen to what Faith is saying. Please.
Don't listen to Faith.
If you want to move to the UK, except you don't have a choice. Except you don't have a choice where you got a job and that's the only job that you got, or admission. But if you have a choice, please stay away from London. Especially if you want to come to UK to live comfortably and still save. See, Africans are sending money back home every month. Do you know how much people send back home?
Esther,
and then you carry London rent and London wahala.
Esther, let me mention something. Let me state a comparison. Someone who probably is the last born, or who does not have people they are sending money home to, would be happy living in London. Wait, I'm just stating a hypothesis. Would be happy staying in London. All the money they're earning, they can flex it, they can, finish it. Wait, now let me finish. Faith, let me land. But if you have 10 siblings at home that are sending money to, and you have brothers and sisters and all people you are sending money to, and parents you are sending money to, don't listen to Faith and move to London. You will be running from their call. You will not be able to pick their call. you will not be having high blood pressure each time your siblings call you. So live in a city where you can also live a comfortable life, be able to send money home, and still be able to visit London occasionally to flex too. Because of course, me, I have picture with London Bridge. I can go to Davido's concert if he comes. I can go to Manchester if there is a show. I can go to Birmingham if there is a show. But I don't want to live in these places. London is very expensive. I can't be, for me, right from time, even when I was in Nigeria,
Don't worry.
I preferred to stay in Port Harcourt than to stay in Lagos because of the
living in London.
eh,
It's not
eh,
everything that's rosy. London is not completely rosy, okay? So
okay, she's saying the truth now. Let's
Back to
listen.
reality. Back to reality.
Let's listen.
Disadvantages of living in London is that first, if you're coming to the UK with family and kids, London is not for you, to be honest.
One,
Because
carry on.
you can't just rent any house. You need to rent a house that is conducive for your children. And secondly, rent in London is very, very expensive, depending on the size of house or the kind of house you want. The third one is that most houses in London are very, very small. If you stretch your hand, you're in the kitchen. Bringing out food.
Fed is not face to face with reality. I'm liking this now.
Yeah. Unlike you guys, I'll talk the good side and the bad side.
But you've used 1 hour, 15 minutes and be making us fighting. We've been fighting this back and forth. We said, so you agree that those of us in the bush, don't forget, bush, during photosynthesis, bush produce more oxygen for us to live long.
So another thing is that in London, you can't really if you want to have a car, it's expensive because you'll be paying a lot of things like congestion charges. In London, if you don't have your own direct car park, if you're parking on the road that's in front of the street, you'll be paying for it. It's not cheap. So most times people don't really buy cars in London because it's of no value. Again, the advantage of not even having a car is because when you're everywhere is accessible in London, so you can easily take a bus or the train. Like where I stay, I have two train stations close to me, so there's no any reason to get a car. But if you have family or more than 2 kids, it would be advisable to have a car. But again, London is not for you because it's gonna be expensive. Another thing is that childcare is expensive. I think childcare is expensive generally in the UK because I don't
more expensive in London.
More expensive in London.
Exactly what, in fact, Esther repeated the same thing.
It's not just more expensive, it's exorbitant in London.
So on the average, Faith, on the average, how much is a childcare for one child for a week?
I pay for my child, I pay every month. I pay £1,100 for her day.
£1,100 for my own boy, where I stay. Where I take my child is £30 a week. So let's times it for 1 month. That's roughly like 200 or less.
For my own daughter, when we're paying for her, we're paying £20 a week.
Wow. How many times a week?
£20
so,
a week.
Though it wasn't every day, it was 3 times a week for £20.
Wow. So I am paying £500 for a month for my daughter.
Is it every
Please, where do you stay?
I live in Canterbury.
Canterbury, I know Canterbury.
Yeah, so I live in Canterbury, and the school that we take care and the childcare, everything costs us £500 a month. So
you see, childcare is not expensive everywhere in the UK.
And even the £500 that I'm saying is just an approximate. It's 4 point something. It's a few coins behind.
Friday?
No, she's just going Wednesday to Friday.
Okay, but what about if she's going for the whole day?
My own goes every day.
If she's going for the whole day, obviously, if you do the maths, you realize that you will not even get up to £800.
700 or so. Yeah, 700 or so.
A friend of mine pays £20 to a childminder per day.
Look at that.
Mine is per, I don't know how many, but we take him every day. So it doesn't take us more than 200 a month for him.
Well,
so
I told you guys that Faith has got millions. Yeah, she is.
See, guys, generally, we're talking about opportunities in London, jobs in London rates. But if we want to look at it critically, you will see that you're spending almost everything you're making.
Is that going to be paying £1,100
Okay.
You're spending almost everything you are making back. So imagine you got a job in
I'm
London
paying
and it's paying
200,
you
Faith. Go and
5K,
cry.
and then you got okay, yes, that's the opportunity. You got the job, but you're going to spend it on your rent, on childcare.
Yeah.
Has it not finished on your bills?
No.
So the money you're making and the opportunity you're running to go and embrace in London, have you not finished spending all the money on bills a
Yeah, that's
month?
true. Yeah.
That is why they don't
So
smile.
you see that it's not if you want anyhow you want to look at it, except you are earning up to £70,000 a year, then you can survive it. If you're earning less than 50K, see, London is not for you.
And
Run
if you are
away.
earning
Exactly.
70,000, wait, if you are earning £70,000 a month, why do you want to squander it in
Yeah.
London? Why
Apart
not go
from that,
and live
no.
in a place where you
Apart
will
from
be able to
It's
buy a
okay, I'll
house with
concede.
it in 1 year?
I'm definitely not going to Debbie.
apart from that, do you know that when you earn
Not that
£70,000,
bush,
your
Debbie.
tax is even higher? So by the time you take away the
Okay,
tax,
guys, let's bring it home, right? Let's bring it home. We moved to the UK. I moved in 2020. My husband moved in 2019. And we bought a house in the UK. So many of our colleagues and friends who moved to London and expensive cities are not even thinking about it because the prices of the house itself, the deposit alone, you will save for like 2 years or 3 years before you get the deposit of the house. But now we are living in our own house. I'm paying 500 and something pounds every month for the house, and it's my house. Some people living in expensive cities are still paying rent of 1,300 every month, and they are dashing it to the landlord, and they are not even buying a house anytime soon because they can't afford it. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
People
They are
don't want
still
to buy
paying bills.
house because
They're still paying, their bills are still more. They're still paying 1,001 for childcare. Why I'm paying £20 for childcare? I can buy a car if I want, the latest Benz, latest BMW, latest. I can buy it and drive to London if I want. But somebody in London like Faith cannot even dream of buying it right now because she prefers to trek to train station. You carry your children. If you have 3 children, you push one in a pram. Your husband will push one, and then you now put one on your head.
Never.
I'll be going to train station. Why me? I'll just tie my children at the back of the car and drive to London. And I'm living comfortable. That job that you have, the difference is that probably you're earning 45K and me, I'm earning 40K, 5K difference.
Yes, that's the funny thing. The difference is usually not so
I will still
huge.
spend,
Yeah.
I will still save on top of it, but you don't even have any saving. I will still save money. I will still be okay, but you'll be telling people, don't come to UK. Is hard. That's because, of course, it's hard for you because you're struggling. You're living in a face me, I face you. You don't have a garden. My kids will play in their garden. I can even put
The gardens,
a
the,
whole
the,
park if I want. I
the
can put
gardens in
it in
London,
my
like I said,
garden.
is like a green footmat,
See,
small size.
the only thing that is paying me is that childcare. I don't care what you guys are saying. It's just the childcare that's paying me.
you see, that is because that is the only one you're allowed to sink. If you go into bit dissecting every bills and everything we spend, babe, you'll be looking for a house outside of London next month.
See, for me, I still see no reason why people live in London. I can tell somebody, if you're earning 70,000, why are you living in London? Why not stay in another city, save up, and you can even buy two mortgage. You don't get money for 2 mortgage. I'm telling you, see,
No,
70,000.
it's not like they don't have money to buy a house. Like, I'll use myself for example. It's not like we don't have money to buy a house, but I can't go and buy a house in the bush. I'm not going to live there, to be honest. So I'd rather stick paying rent.
Okay, Faith, I think, how about, okay, for instance, now, if you're living
God.
outside of London, you can afford to even save, even if you want to buy a house in London, you can afford to save your initial deposit.
Exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
then you buy
But
the house in
that
London.
means it's 1 year of suffering in the bush just to be able to come back.
For a lifetime of comfort, if
In
like you
London,
want.
in the city. 1 year
Well,
in the
you have
bush.
to sacrifice. I agree with you on that one.
You are beginning to agree with us. I like how Faith has moved from being stubborn initially to now agreeing with us, especially when we mentioned childcare.
Well, no, I think this is not balanced because Faith is like the only London advocate here. I wish there were like maybe 2 or 3 people that would give Faith morale. but she's the only one. Nobody's supporting her. Okay, except those in the comment section. And they don't want to call in.
No, because the thing is, the only thing that's paining me is the childcare. Any other thing, I'm okay. Like, there's no difference for me. Like, I'd rather.
That childcare is a huge difference. The difference between 200, 300 a month or 400 a month to 1,001 is about 600 or 700.
I know it's painful because it's coming from our pocket.
It's painful. I can feel your pain. I feel your pain.
I like the comfort I have, accessibility. My life is fine in the. I like. You know when you guys you call person in Nigeria now, where are you? I'm in London, they know. But if you call, I'm in Debbie, where is it? From London, you can yes, it's one place like that. Don't worry.
Oh my God.
But you not pay me, shao.
but to be fair, there was a day
respect you guys. No, I don't need to explain myself.
But you know, everywhere is London to Nigeria. So everywhere is London to Nigeria. So
yeah, once you're in the UK, you're in London.
Once you're in the UK, you're in London.
That's true.
There are more people on this that wants to join, but I don't know. This place is full, and I can't add. I don't know how to add more people.
Go and pay StreamYard so that they'll give you access. That money you've been saving, that you're not alone. You cannot pay for StreamYard to allow you.
Okay, I think Esther, I think I will just I think I'll exit and
I don't mind leaving as well to give more room to people.
Yeah.
Faith, well done. You're looking for. You're just trying to. It's okay. Whatever you say to us, we accept it. But the fact is that we are not moving to London. We don't advise people to move to London.
You cannot pay StreamYard. That much.
Faith, I know it's been a while. Faith, I know it's been a while. You drove in a car, right? Like a cozy, fine car. Please, I'll invite you to my house next week. I'll drive you around, take you. You don't even know what the motorway is. I'm sure you don't know, right?
He doesn't know what the motorway is.
He doesn't know what motorway is.
Faith.
I don't have to drive through the bush.
Faith, sorry, have you done your driving test? Faith, have you done your...
I don't need to see the road.
Faith, you know motorway. Faith, wait now.
Faith, have you done your driving test?
I don't need to. I don't want to.
All right, Esther.
Jesus Christ! Because you're in London, you see what living in London is costing.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. So,
everyone.
Wait, I'm going to drive you round, take you to the motorway. Because I know you don't know what it is. You've never seen it before.
See what someone said.
Drive.
Faith, see what someone said. How can you be, Faith, let me read this comment. How can you be a young Nigerian with all the things you have to do in life and you want to live in London and labor for nothing? Faith, please, see knowledge.
My labor is not for nothing. I'm enjoying myself, you guys. I'm labor for comfort, accessibility, you guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Apparently I live in London. I actually live in the heart of London.
Is it Ami or Gigi?
Yes, it's Ami.
Okay. Welcome.
I live at the heart of Peckham. Yeah, about 5-minute walk to Peckham. Apparently, anyway, I'm not going to say, I'm not paying everything personally because part of my rent is being paid by council because I'm on, I've got kids, I'm on housing benefit, but I'm just trying to say my house, like my water rent, my water bills I'm paying every 6 months, and sometimes it comes like £65 for that 6 months, and then my gas bill, used to come like, sometimes it comes like 8 or 7 or 10 pounds. The maximum I've paid like £15. Can you imagine that? And then my light is like prepaid. And obviously council tax is cheaper. Like what's it called? £14, £15. But if you are renting for somebody that's renting that does not have those other facilities like me, like let's say the government is helping, it's hard, it's crazy. But in terms of paying the extra bills, my apartment I'm living is the best because it's kind of cheap.
Okay, that's okay. You're living in London. This is Fajira's concept. Hi, Toshi. Hi,
Is
Faith.
she,
Hi, Fajira.
Okay,
see,
I've been listening to all your arguments, and I just want to. I'm not first. I'm not going to say I'm on your side or I'm not on your side, but please,
Girl,
please,
come
please.
on. Be on my side.
To be honest, I've been in the UK for almost 12 years now, by God's grace, and living in London is the last thing I would do. Let me tell you why. What if you want to buy a house in
You just
London?
broke my heart.
No, Faith.
she said it's the last thing she will do. She will do it, but it's the last thing, just
Yeah,
before
it's the
rapture.
last thing. So
Just before rapture, not
if you
now.
want to be rich, if you want to be the rich babes in the UK, move out of London. You're gonna save a lot of money for yourself. Now let me come about your council tax. If you're living in a band A property, you know the council tax comes with different bands. So if you're living in band A property, let's say I'm using Coventry as an example because I've lived in Coventry for almost 12 years now. I lived in Milton Keynes, closer to London, but I ran away after 6 months because it's more expensive. Not that I can't afford it, but I prefer to like save more money. It's still the same UK. I think I heard somebody saying everyone in Africa, once you say you are in UK, they call it London. So now, if you're talking about the band, let's look at the council tax. If you're paying for a council tax band A in somewhere like Manchester, and you have the same tax, a property that is band A in London, somebody in Manchester will be paying like, let's say, 1,200 for council tax. But because you're in London, you will be paying up to 1,81917. I've worked with council tax. That's why I'm talking about this. Yeah. Now, when you talk about the band, it's very expensive. So if somebody is planning to come to the UK, I would think that staying outside UK will make you save more money, especially
Outside
with
London.
staying outside London will make you save enough money, including black tax. We send a lot of black tax back home. So if you stay in London, you will really struggle. Then that's for the banding. Let's talk about driving in London. I went to London a few months ago for my Nigeria license. Where we parked, we paid over £100 for 5 hours in London. So if you want to drive in London, it's quite expensive. But where we live outside London, you don't really pay that much for parking. You could get a parking space for like £20 for that hour, you know. Then let's talk about the ultra low emission zones. I'm sure you're aware of that. It's expanding.
Yeah.
It's expanding. And very soon, every part of London will be added to the.
You guys cannot drive your fuel car into our London.
So
you have to have electric car to come to London.
London is sweet though, but the crime rates as well. So let's talk about driving in London. So if you're driving in London, you have to be financially ready, except you're using an electric car. I work with Transport for London, and you see people arguing every day. I did not drive into the zone. I drove into the zone. I did not, like you see. So there are some zones that you will even drive to unconsciously. You have to pay for congestion charge, which is about £15, or the ultra low emission cost, which is like £12.50. So imagine you're driving a day in London. Apart from your petrol, you are paying another £27.50 one day. Faith, how are you going to cope with that?
Why are you attacking me?
See, for me, someone said in 1997 he bought a house in London. He bought a house in London for £450,000, and now the house is now £1.5 million pounds. It's nobody saying you can buy a house in London. As Esther is now, she can buy a house in London.
Yeah.
We can all decide to buy a house in London. I can even buy a house beside the Faith, but I will not live in London. I will buy the house. I will not live inside. That's the thing, because the cost of living is very high. So even if I have £700,000, I can buy it, and then the house will appreciate. That's on its own.
Okay, Faith, I live in Coventry, and let me shock you. Last week I went for a party, and I met a lady there who lived in London, and she bought a house where we bought our house. And you know what she did? She said she's lived in London for like how many years? So she sold her house and paid for her house cash instead of mortgage, that she cannot live in London. And she's spending the extra money, which if she was living in London, she would spend the whole money again.
But because she bought a house outside London, it's quite cheaper for her to manage. So I live in Coventry. So move to Coventry.
I think I'll consider, but that Debbie, no. Don't you? Where are you living?
I stay in Crew. Everybody knows that.
Where?
Is it Crewe or Crewe?
You
Is
see,
it
I've
that one
never
that
heard
is
of it.
Crewe? The first day I pronounced that place, I said it's Crewe.
It's true. Who else lives in Derby? Because my husband works in Derby. So who
I
lives
live in Derby. I
Oh
live
my
in
God.
Derby.
Where about in Derby do you live?
Just around the town center,
Okay,
not far from Royal Derby Hospital.
all right, you know Royce Ross. Around
Yes.
there, my husband works around there. So I've been to Derby. We have a family in Derby. So Faith, you will love Derby. Don't say you can't.
No.
See, living in Derby, Coventry, Birmingham, Leicester, these places are cities. But
Yeah.
since Faith came here, say Faith, any other place outside London is bush.
You know, this is what somebody said. Niger food no common for all these bushes.
Thank
That's
you.
what
See.
Faith
No, it's
See.
told this person.
See, Esther, let me tell you, where I stay, I literally drive only 5 minutes to where I buy Nigerian food, and there are like 3 of them in the same road. So I'll buy
Nigerian food or this Pakistani own that they sell.
No, this is Nigerian store.
Oh,
This
that's
not
proper
be-
market.
This not proper Nigerian store. This is not halal. This is African store, Nigerian food. Go like this. You go see yam, plantain, cassava even day.
Original
Like
palm oil from Nigeria. Do you
original palm oil day, gari day, cabin biscuits. That box, that old cabin biscuit is day. Kuli day. Akia day. Waiting the talk.
You know what happens? The thing is, when you arrive in the UK, Toshi, you know, when you arrive in the UK, the first place of your arrival feels like a home. I'm saying it from experience. I think Faith is more comfortable in London. Maybe that was where she arrived. But so it feels like a home. I arrived in Coventry as a student. So even when I moved to Milton Keynes is closer to London. I still felt like I was away from home. That's because I feel like I am from Coventry. So I think that's what happens for many of us. So your first point of arrival, irrespective of how expensive it is, because you're able to manage that time, you feel very comfortable and you feel more at home. So I think that's what is disturbing you. So
maybe I came to first.
Yeah, so that's why you're
so you grow to like the suffer. So you feel the suffer is life.
Yeah,
like you just
suffer. I'm not understanding when you say suffer because I'm not suffering. I don't understand what's
the suffer in London. You literally, Esther, Faith literally said this here that she cannot stretch her hands in the kitchen.
I said Faith.
But wait, Faith, Esther,
when you get pregnant, because you can't enter.
But she agreed. But Faith agreed and said she cannot stretch her hand in her kitchen. That is very small. Did you not say it's Faith?
I have to walk 3 minutes to get to my kitchen. My house is not that small, so please.
Okay, thank God Esther has this video. We'll watch it. We'll record the part where you said you cannot stretch your hand in the kitchen, and now you're saying it's 3 minutes walk in your kitchen.
Houses in London.
We have. I think Gigi is here, so that I can add more people.
Okay, I will.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fejira. We appreciate you.
I'm still listening anyway. I'm in the chat
room. Thank you.
All right.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so I joined I'll call it a show now. I joined it like some minutes back, and I'm neither. I would say I'm 50% this way. I'm 50% on Faith's side, and I'm 50% the Bushes gang. So this is why I would say. I think. No, this is why I'm saying it. I feel we should not just. I think one of the statements that I think it was Esther that said it that made me say, maybe not exactly. It's we shouldn't is it blatantly they say just say that you shouldn't live in London. Do you understand? I feel first of all, before you leave Nigeria and come here, you already know what you're going for. So I feel that's what would guide where you or help you decide where you want to stay. There are some people, the kind of jobs they do, sorry, but they cannot live elsewhere other than London. If you like, let the expense be over the roof. It will be the best thing for them to remain in London. Okay, let me use myself now. I live in the Northeast, but before I came here, I had like she was well, in uni. I knew her from uni. She finished what they call it with the first class, got this Commonwealth scholarship, came to the UK, and she was working in London. She got this job, like she was brought from Nigeria, sponsored and all. She was working in London. Now the kind of she works in GIS, the kind of job she does. Yes, you could say yes, she could work remotely, but the connect and every other thing she needs, it was way better for her to live in London. By the way, her salary, for Mr. Debbie that was saying, why would I want to earn so much and spend all that money in London? This person I'm talking about, she's got properties. If you know GIS properly, you know if you can know your way in it, you'll be a millionaire in pounds. This lady I'm talking about, she's been in London. Her family has been in London. In fact, she's been able to bring her own siblings from Nigeria. They are now in the UK. She is still here. She's got properties in Nigeria, not in Benin or in one local. She's got properties in good areas in Lagos, got properties in Abuja, but she still lives in London. And like last time I was speaking with her, I was like, Auntie Mildred, we just have, she's like, where are you staying? I said, I'm living in the north. To her, the north is like, I'm living in Scotland.
Like you're living in bush, according to faith.
But I can also appreciate that the kind of job she's doing, the connects she needs, they are in London. So you cannot, it's not everything you want to do, say work from home. So that's why for me, I feel if you know that, okay, the kind of job you are going to be doing is going to, it does not really matter where you stay, then you can decide to live outside London. But if you know that you need the connect, you've got to be in the, if there's a conference, let's say there's this conference, let's say maybe a GIS conference now, they will not come and do it with me that is staying in Newcastle. Do you get? It's going to be in London. So do you not expect somebody now who is in that field to always be traveling up and down and say, oh, it's because of these excuses you are giving? The truth of the matter, there are people who live in London and they make it. They are doing well. I know, yes, we are calculating up and down. There are some people, they live there and they are not calculating all this calculation we are calculating and saying, oh, everything you earn, you are spending it. Yes, there are some people who will do that. Of which even in these other areas that are outside London, there are some people who still live that same way. Trust me, I know them. So it's not, I feel you planning and doing good with your money is all about discipline. First of all, and not because, yes, where you live matters, but okay, for instance, where I live now, you could say, oh, it's cheap. Where I live right now, in fact, I don't tell people my rent because there are some people who believe I'm wasting money. Yes, I live in the north, but I made sure that the place I'm living, the schools here are a lot better. And because of that, my council tax and every other thing I'm paying for is expensive. I know to you guys now it might not be a lot, but for me, in my area, I'm coming, Miriam. In my area, the going rate for rent could be like 500, 600, 450, 500. But me now, I'm paying 800. I have my reason for paying 800, and I don't mind. It's the same thing for somebody deciding to stay in London because I know the benefits I'm getting from living in this area. So at the end of the day, it's somebody's choice. And it will, for me now, where I'm living works for me. Even with the fact that there are some Nigerians, in fact, when I don't tell them how much I pay for rent, because I know they will say, oh, you are wasting money, but I know what I'm gaining. Do you understand? So I feel we should not just say, don't live in London, or if you are coming, don't see. There are some people that the grace, it's just the way some people say, if you jackpot, it's not everybody that has the grace for jackpot. You understand? There are some people it will pay them more to live in Nigeria. Do you understand? They will make more money living in Nigeria or living in the US or living else. Everybody get where God wants to bless them. That kind of thing. Do you understand? There are some people living in London is where they need to be, and God will bless them there. Imagine if they now follow what we are saying and now come to a different place and not even struggle. See, forget there are people who stay in crew and they will still struggle.
You're right, my sister. Wisdom. Thank you
Like
very
I
much.
said, I know someone who moved from
I
US
agree
to
with you.
London and lived for 3 years and bought a house in London with no even government support. The whole 10%, I think, yeah, it is 10%. So, I mean, London can be expensive, but depending on how much you're earning.
At the end of the day,
And it
it's
also
the human
depends on how
beings
much you're
involved.
making in London, though.
Yeah.
If you get a good job, you're making good money in London, and you can afford it.
See,
Okay, why not?
yeah. Or a family. Okay, I know. I don't know them personally, but I know them because they attend my church in London. Do you understand? The wife, her annual is about 100 and something. She's a director in the NHS. The husband is in
No, now
IT.
see, we're not talking about
Do
those
you
people.
know, okay, I'm coming. Do you not expect that kind of a person to not leave London and say,
We're not
oh,
talking about those people. We're talking about people
that's
like
no, I
us
get.
who are just
But
earning
you know there are
small
some
money.
true. But you know there are some people
Not
who
that grade. We are not
okay.
there.
Okay, do you not expect? Okay, let's say somebody comes from Nigeria. You know, there's forget the fact that we say many people who come from Nigeria. There are people who come from Nigeria who already their resume will get them good and sound jobs. Will you not tell such a person just because they are just coming, quote and unquote, they should not go? Maybe I'm coming. They should not go, maybe come to where I am in the north and stay. Do you get?
Where do you stay, if you don't mind?
I stay in Teesside.
Teesside is not bad.
That's what you think. But I used to live where exactly I stay is Ingleby Barwick. Teesside is
among the bush that Faith's talking about.
What do you mean?
See, I will not lie to you. See, Tochi, I will not lie to you. It's because you went to where your husband was straight. There's something the other lady said. Where you first come to, it has a way of, you just see. When I first came to the UK, me and my husband, we lived in Manchester. I did not want to leave. I did not want to leave for any reason. Do you understand? Because when I came to Teesside, now you're saying Teesside is, see, a town is a town at the end of the day. A city is a city. You cannot compare. Let's call a spade a spade. I know, yes, we are here to Japan.
You have joined Faith to say we all are living in the bush. It's okay, we accept.
It's true. Understand? I live there too, but at the same time, let's call a spade a spade. Yes, we are trying to cut costs and make the best use of what we've got, but we should still call a spade a spade. When I first came to Teesside, like from Manchester, when we came down, we used the bus and we came down and we were in this supposedly town center because that's where the bus dropped us. I looked around and I told my husband, I said, wait, what is this? Because it's now living here, but it's like, okay, it's okay. But because I'm coming from Manchester, I could not compare the two. But people who came here straight, who came from Nigeria, I've met students in my working place who maybe their partners, they all came from Nigeria straight and passed through Newcastle Airport or Teesside Airport. To them, Middlesbrough or Stockton-on-Tees or Hartlepool, all those places are like, wow. Imagine if they went to London. So I feel at the end of the day, it's the human being involved. It's not a one size fits all. Don't stay in London. We cannot just give a blanket statement like that. I feel so. Just ask yourself, what are you going for? Where should I be? London could just be it for you.
All right. Thank you very much. Wisdom. So yeah, the summary is if you're not earning so much, you can stay away from London. Well, if you feel like you're earning so much money and you can afford London, by all means, do whatever makes you happy. Somebody say, live where your spirit accepts. So whatever rocks your boat. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Faith. Hi, Tochi. Hi, everyone else. Okay. I'm RJ calling from London. I've been yeah. I've been listening to and I've been commenting in the chat. I think it's relative. Overall, if you want a good quality of life, it is advisable to stay out of London. However, if you're building a career, for instance, like me in the financial space, the only place you can build it successfully, as it were, in UK is London. because London is the financial hub. So when you talk about the tech bros, the guys that do, the consulting and all those kind of things, it is the heart of London. You need to go to places like Canary Wharf. You need to go to places where you have all the high-end banks and all those kind of things. All those things are actually situated in London, and you can't even choose to live outside of London because it won't be convenient for you, if you get what I mean. So it's just a thing of, like, I have a sister, my younger sister. She stays in Birmingham. Oh, she's doing fantastically well. They bought their house. Everything is like going on really well. But the thing is that in London, you can't compare the rent you pay in London to up north. And mind you, I've also lived in Leeds. So up north is not comparable to London in terms of rent, in terms of bills and all the expenses. Up north is way cheaper. But the thing is, but the thing is that when you live in London, there's what's called the London weighting in the salary structure. So Londoners are kind of, giving a bit of additional, as it were, salary to cushion the effect of how expensive London is. So I just want us to approach the UK with that open mind. It depends on your career path, really and truly. Everywhere else, yeah, it's good. You can stay. In fact, living out of London really is cheaper and it pays. And then when people I was hearing people say rent of 1, 2, 1, 3. I can't relate. You can't get that in central London. Central London, it's from 1,800, 2,000 for just a 2-bed. So it depends on where you are and then what you want, really. So guys, just go where your spirit leads you, as it were. So Tochi.
Thank you, Ajay. Do you know that 2,000 is somebody's whole salary for a month?
Someone said, how many people? Sorry, guys. I think I had network when the other lady was talking. I was hearing a lot of noises, and even after she stopped talking, I was still hearing. So I just decided to go out and come in because I didn't know if the network was so bad. Someone said, how many people who move to the UK for the first time can really boast of high earning? It is a small percentage. So it is because of that we always advise people.
I know, I don't know, but most of my husband people that are coming to the UK are not coming with small money. In terms of
maybe not tech people, they flow with now. We're talking about NHS workers.
Yeah, like I was saying, if you're in the tech space, it's fine. You can live, you can earn well. But the truth is that in London is expensive. It's just like living in Abuja. If you go and live in somewhere like in Maitama in Abuja, do you expect to pay the same kind of rent that you pay in a place like, where else would I mention in Abuja? Maybe around Karus, exactly. So this is very relative, and I have stayed in Lagos as well. So I'm just giving these instances so that no one just comes with a mind of saying, okay, London is not the place to be. London is everywhere you have to be. Like if you stay in the UK, you can come in to visit London. It's wonderful. But the thing is, of course, if it's like you can't build like save as much, and then if it's easier, yes, stay out of London, build your life, do your savings, and then when it's needed and when you blow, as Nigerians would say, you can then move to London.
No, Ajay, when we blow, we'll come and flex. We don't have to move to London.
Exactly. We'll just you go and buy a house in London and be getting money.
Exactly. So yeah, so it's I think it's relative, and our experiences just kind of define us as individuals.
On individual, exactly. If you're a city person or you like to be in a city, like some people are like for example, there are some people who stay in Maitama that they'll be spending a whole lot of money. They don't mind because they want that luxury, that comfort, whatever it is that they are getting from that city life. They want it, they like it. So don't be a city person and go and stay in the bush because you want to save money. You'll be so frustrated and depressed, honestly.
No, Faith, see, when it comes to city, right? I think you're mistaking something.
Okay, so yeah,
city
Faith,
life, right, in Maitama and city life in Banana Island or city life in Port Harcourt, what's the difference?
There's
or city life in Enugu, the central Enugu. What's the difference?
Exactly.
There's
Can I
no
come in?
difference. So it's not like you're living outside London means you're living in a bush. Manchester
Yeah,
has a
so
city
no,
life. Birmingham has a city life.
concept of
Bradford has a
calling
city life.
exactly the concept of calling everywhere out of London bush as it were. I know Faith is just being sarcastic, but really it's not a bush. Like you
She's
can't
looking
call
for
any
she's looking for trouble.
you can't call any town or any city in England as it were relatively for the most part. You can't really call it a bush because in fact there are amenities we don't have in our mega cities in places like Nigeria or Angola, right? So it's just like I said, it's just relative for
But
me.
most people that
Right?
move out of London, they don't necessarily live in the city center. Tochi, you're not in the city center. And Kelvin,
I live in the city center.
I'm in the city center.
Yeah, so they are
Can I
in
come
the
in
city
here?
center, and that's it.
Can I speak?
Yeah,
Hi,
thank you,
Tochi.
you, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, all.
Sorry,
Very
speaking.
fantastic conversation so far. Oh, my name is Kito.
Skito, okay.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm based in Leeds. So I'm also in the northeast. I'm based in Leeds. Interesting conversation, but sorry, I'm not going to be on Faith side about moving to London first, and I'll give you reasons why. So I'm fortunate to work within tech, and I work in one of the 10 biggest companies in the UK. I save above 50% of my salary. It is impossible to save that much living anywhere close to the south. It can't happen. So I work with colleagues, we earn the same, and I'm living better. Just for the fact that I'm living somewhere up north. Leeds is like the third or fourth biggest city in the UK. It has all the amenities I need. And when I need to go to London, I just take a train and I'm in London. And I avoid all the madness of being in London.
And
I
you can
do all
even
this
use flights too. You can use
Yeah, I
flights
can even
too.
fly.
Which
Thank
Faith
you.
cannot relate. Faith cannot fly from London to
I don't
London.
need to leave London to anywhere because everything is here. You guys mostly come to London. That's what we're still talking about. Me, I don't have to.
Hold on first now. Let me land. And I can go all the sites and everything I want to do and come back to my lead and still have fun of being in a city. Somebody mentioned about driving, for example. Getting a license in London is one of the most difficult things you can ever do. A driving license in London. We all know London has all the hardest routes.
Faith
Because
does
it's
not
very
have
expensive.
driving license. Add
You
that.
can't get
Add
it.
that.
That's just
Faith
the truth.
cannot drive.
Yeah.
Faith have
Yeah,
never been
It's
in a car. She doesn't
it's
know what she cannot
it's
relate to
difficult,
being
but
in
it's
a
doable.
private car in the
Thank you,
UK.
my
She can't
sister.
relate.
It is
It's
difficult, but
difficult, but it's doable. Because
It's
I know
doable.
someone, in
But
fact,
Faith has not
in,
done it. It's
I
I'm not
doable.
saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's
yeah, I
very
know someone
difficult.
that came into Nigeria and under 6 months, from Nigeria came into London. Under 6 months, he did the theory test and the practical,
Practical.
and he passed. Yes, and
That's
he
an
passed and he
outlier.
got his license.
It's doable.
Flyer. That's one.
It's
That's
doable.
just
So I
yeah.
think we should just
keep an open mind. Like
No,
my
it's a
sister.
one-off.
keep an open mind.
You should keep an open mind. But Faith is not keeping an open mind. She said she cannot go to any other city in England, that it is bush.
No,
Faith, you need to keep
I
an
think it's
open mind
just
as
being
well.
sarcastic.
See, RJ, I feel like you can relate to all these things we're saying because you've lived in other cities, like you said. But Faith have
Exactly.
never lived outside London. And then when she now moved outside London, she now went to a bush. So that's why
No.
she feels like every other place outside London is a bush. And then Faith cannot relate to being in a private car in the UK. She can't relate. She only knows trains and she doesn't even know about. If I show her any logo, car logo that she doesn't know.
Can I list the top cities in England and their population? London, as small as it is what is of course number one, and it's 8.8 million population. 8.8 million. Then we have Liverpool, 470,000. There is enough space for everybody. We have Manchester. We have Bristol, Bath,
Birmingham.
York, Cambridge, Brighton, Birmingham, Oxford, Nottingham. These are cities. Like these are cities, they all have historic monuments and activities you can do as well. So you can't just say
So
because
they're not good.
you are not living in these people are not living in
But
London.
you still come to London to have the best fun.
No, we are not coming to have the best one. We are coming to also see London, and we have the one we are staying in. But you are only in London. You are not even going to see any other place.
Faith,
The only place you've been is the train station of Manchester.
You need to explore the UK so that your mentality, your mindset will change.
I've been to Manchester. I've been to
By the train station. That's where you stopped. You stopped at the train station.
I spent 2 days in Manchester for crying out loud. I went out.
you are roaming around the train
Sorry,
station.
sorry, guys. We have Victoria here. Sorry, I know Skito was talking and we kind
Yes,
of cut
yes,
him.
yes.
Sorry, Skito, please round up quickly.
Yeah,
Then
thank you.
Victoria, so we can round up.
Thank you very much. So for me, what I've seen so far is if you want to really enjoy yourself in London and live pretty well, you need to be on a fat salary. You have to earn very well, and you have to have some certain skills. Because either you're an entrepreneur, either you're an investment banker, either you're a lawyer, you have, or a technology person, where those head offices are located, you work there. But the thing is that we remote working, and even these companies exiting London. So now many of these financial houses are moving to Manchester. They're moving to Leeds, yeah. Some of the big consulting firms, they're moving some of their major offices down up north because of the cost of living in London is affecting them too. So that appeal is no more there. And COVID has changed this whole dynamics. Now you work remotely. My office is in London. I live in Leeds. I work remotely. I've never been there at all for how many years. I've not gone there because there's no point. But yet I'm being paid well. So the appeal to live in London is not like it was before. Because with technology, with proper transport infrastructure in the UK, you can go to London, see what you want to see, come back home, save your money, live a good life. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's all about having satisfaction, having a proper balance in life. That's what it's all about. You want to get African food, you pick your car. And that's what I meant when he was talking about you can't drive, I was laughing because that's some of the things I also enjoy. When you're able to drive, you take a road trip. Being in London, you can't do some of these things. Oh, you enjoy the country. The other day I was in central London. I spent over 1 hour from central London to the motorway. I thought I was in Oju Elegba or something. I was wondering what madness is all this. I couldn't relate. I couldn't relate. So I don't see the appeal there. So, I mean, if you're in one of those big organizations, have some of those skills, they're paying you a killing. Yes, you can live in London, but you will not save. Trust me. You will not save. That's just the truth. You will not save as much as you will save if you're living outside London and you're able to experience the same and save at the end of the day and have a good life. So that's just my own 2 cents. Thanks, guys.
God bless you. You will live long. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Good evening.
Victoria, over to you.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I've lived in London since 2012. I believe it's about 10 years now. And I was opportune to secure a council house like about a year after relocating. I really relate with what the other lady says about career. If you want to build your career, the best place to be is in London, especially if you are into finance. I believe she's into finance, and as well, I'm into finance. So that's the best place to build your career, because if you're looking for a job, most places, the location is usually London, central London, all of those stuff. However, when it comes to rent, it is very crazy. I can attest to that. But if you are able to, like, for instance, if once you come in, you got your papers sorted out, you can register for council housing. There are pretty good council houses out there, but you need to be eligible, okay? If you can secure council house, your rent will be relatively cheaper. And that's what has helped me and my husband over these years. Like, for instance, I live in the heart of London, actually in Bermondsey, but I pay £400 per month. You understand? A lot of people just keep on paying for private renting and all that, and it's going to eat all of your salary if you're living in London. But if you're able to get your things sorted out, you got your papers, you've lived in London for like 5 years, you go to your borough council and register for council house. You start bidding, okay? And if you have issue with your landlord and all of those stuff, you get your evidence that you have an issue with accommodation. And with that, the council is going to help you and you secure a property. Like for now, we live in a 2-bedroom council house. We are still bidding because my kids has grown. Like when we are giving 2-bedroom house in 2012, I had only 1 child, but now I have 4 kids and we are bidding for 3-bedroom house. If you secure council house, it is cheaper. And if you live like 5 or 6 years, you are more likely to buy that house on mortgage. That's the tip that I wanted to give to you guys, okay? If you can do that, your life will be better in the UK.
Yeah.
Thank you. But somebody just drew our attention to something. Somebody said most immigrants can't get council housing because it's classified as public fund.
Yes, I know. I
Exactly,
know. That's why I
Sochi,
said you
exactly.
secure your papers. Like if you're eligible, like you have no restriction at all. Yeah, that's the first thing you have to get on. Immediately you land, just try and get your papers sorted out. If you get that sorted out, there are so
When
many
you mean
opportunities for you,
paper, sorry, when you
honestly.
mean paper, what do you mean? Because
Like your
most immigrants
passport,
are
you have no
legal,
immigration
students
restriction.
and workers.
That
Sorry,
means
say that again.
ILRO.
Yeah. Yeah, a citizen or indefinitely to
Yes,
remain.
yes. If you become a citizen, if you secure your citizenship, yes. Once you
So you
do,
have to like work and struggle and live for London for like 5 years. If you're on student visa, 10
yes, for
years.
you to be eligible for council house, you must
Why
stay
do you
in that borough
are struggling?
for a certain number of years. Yes.
So I will now be in London
People in
and
London are not
suffer before
Yeah.
I'll
not
now.
suffering. They are not
It's suffering.
Yeah.
It's suffering.
I
You
think,
literally said
like
here
I
that you
said,
cannot stretch your hand in your kitchen.
initially. Yeah,
I
like
think
I
for
said initially, the quality of life, if you want to get a good quality of life, honestly, in all honesty, for a beginner that's not, earning that very high paying salary, London is not the place for you. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's I think we should just be very relative about this. It's just like imagine you're staying somewhere in Abuja and you go and stay in a place like Maitama or Asokoro Extension and you expect to pay the same kind of rent that you pay if you're staying in Cairo. It's very different. So I just think for us, for quality of life generally, you appreciate nature, you can drive around town and all those kind of stuff. When you are outside London, you can take a very good road trip from anywhere you are to like maybe another town when you are outside
Thank
London.
you,
London does not
Ajay.
afford you that luxury.
Sorry, Ajay, please, can you take Faith and show her what a motorway looks like and what a private car looks like? Because she doesn't know. She has
Faith,
never been in a
no
private car in
worries.
the UK. She doesn't know what the motorway is.
No,
And
in London, we have private cars. It's just that you pay for parking. For instance, in central London, if there are some places, if you want to park, it's £50 and you can't even park overnight. What's overnight? It's £50 for a certain number of hours
If not
just to
for
park
some
your car.
reasons, I would have turned my camera to show Faith. Front of my house, there's free parking everywhere.
Exactly. So
Free
these
parking.
are the things that eat your money in London. But the truth is, if you're earning well, there are a lot of big guys in Nigeria, like Nigerians, real Nigerians that I've met. They are earning well, they are doing well. And then property appreciates more. Property appreciates more in London. If you get a house now, and maybe, or you got a house, like for instance, say 5-8 years ago, and then you want to value it now, I mean, it will be running into almost millions of pounds now in London, right? But you can't get that kind of appreciation, even if you get your property in, for instance, Birmingham or Brighton or somewhere. It can't exactly, it can't appreciate. Exactly. So it has its pros and cons. So let's just, have that at the back of our minds and then do what is right and do what we feel is good for us.
We all
thank
see.
you so much, Ajay. Thank you
Esther,
everyone that
see.
contributed.
London is not the best place for you. If you're a student, I don't advise you to do that because it's crazy in rent. The reason why I brought up about council houses, if you're already settled, you can do it in London, okay? But if you're still trying to get your feet, don't just, because there's no need for that. There's no need for it at all because you end up regretting it.
Yeah.
So the advice,
guys.
Esther. So meaning the advice is if you're just entering the UK, which is of course most of the people are telling nice. People who are planning to relocate to the UK, people are just getting jobs with NHS or other companies. People. So you should not go to London. That's the summary of all we are saying. If you like London, fine, that's fine. You can go and in fact, go and meet Fato Jones and collect her address. So you always be going to collect some things from her because the struggle is getting worse. It's getting worse, seriously.
Yeah, so we're not saying London is
Awesome
bad. That's
point.
what
Hi
about
guys,
the
I need
point.
to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
All right, no
much.
And
worries.
thanks,
Thank you.
Tochi,
I
Faye. Thanks
appreciate you.
everyone.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Thank
So,
you,
guys, we're
Tochi.
not
Nice
saying
to see
don't
you
move to
guys.
London, right? We're
Nice.
basically just saying if you are starting life and you're not earning so well, there's no point. Try as much as you can to stay away from London, right? But on the other hand, if you're earning like you are into tech, finance, you have the best jobs, earning the best amount of money, why not? Move to anywhere you want to move to. But if you're in the category of people like us
Like
that are
us.
just starting life, that are just trying to survive, just doing things here and there just to live and survive, please avoid London. Maybe when you have blown, just like we've been saying since, when you have blown, you've made
Like faith.
money,
When you have
you
blown
can
like faith.
like faith. When you have blown like faith, you
Kelvin,
can now move to London.
don't go to Derbyshire or Crow.
All right, guys. I think we're going to be ending this live.
Yeah,
We were hoping for 1 hour, but now it's now like
it was
2 hours plus. So I don't know. Damilola and Olu just joined. Let me just add them so they can say hi to us, and then we can go. Olu is here. Damilola, hi. Olu, hi.
Hello, hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Please, just 2 minutes, guys. We're almost done.
guys. I have to go. My
Yeah,
battery is low.
well done for the good job,
Oh,
Toshi. Yeah, well
Hi,
done,
guys.
well done for the good job.
Thank you, Faith.
Yeah.
Hi, who's speaking, please?
I can't hear anyone.
Olu, Damilola.
I can't hear anyone actually.
Yeah, they're not here. I don't know.
Hello.
Anyway, guys,
Can you
thank
hear
you
me?
all for joining. Kelvin, what are your final words for us before we go?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Okay. Someone said, can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's me, Olu.
Who is
It's
that?
me, Olu.
Olu, Damilola. Sorry,
We
Kelvin,
can't
just
hear them.
give us your final words, then we can go.
All right. Thanks, Esther, for this live stream here on YouTube. The best advice is if you're coming to the UK, make sure you have an idea of where you're relocating to. There are major cities in the UK that you can also move to. In fact, Scotland also have big cities and you can live an affordable life. Don't forget, you're not just moving down here to live comfortably and just flex all the money. You're coming here to save money as well, and you're going to also send money home to your family back home. So where you're going to stay in UK is very, very important because you might end up spending most of your money on rent or saving most of your money on rent. If you live in London, you're going to spend more than 60% or 50% of your salary on rent or even more. Let's assume you're earning 2,000 and you're paying 1,200 on rent. What is left for you to eat or feed on? So try as much as you can to look for places that are not away, in fact, places that are not close to London. When you have lived in UK for a while, you can decide to move to London, and you'll be able to calculate your cost and know what the benefit is for you. Okay, so we are not saying don't live in London. We are not saying people who live in London are not wise. No, we are saying don't just move to London because you just want to move to London and have fun. No, if you have plans to settle down, buy houses or do things, you don't have to live in London. You can live in Manchester, Birmingham, Leeds, Sheffield, Leicester, different cities, and you'll be able to save, and then you can decide to buy a house in London and live a happy life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelvin, for coming today. Faith Ojone's battery went off, so she had to go out. So thank you, Faith. Thank you, Kelvin. Guys, this guy's on YouTube as well. Please do well to check them out and show them support. You guys already seen that they are doing well. And so and they'll be doing well on their channels as well. So check them out and show them support. Thank you guys so much for joining. Everyone that has joined us, for your contributions, for everything. I'm sure you have learned one or two from this video. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys in our next videos. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys. Good night.